Chapter 32:21. Phoenix Blood, City Sparrow Light's face turned pale. He coldly gazed at Secludeless on the city wall. Secludeless was a nobody. He was just a junior. Who gave him the courage to scold him in front of so many people? Little bastard, I'll give you a chance now. Get your ass in front of me, kneel in front of me, and apologize to me. Otherwise, you won't live to see the sun tomorrow. Sparrow Brilliance said with a gloomy expression. Secludeless sneered. If you have guts, get your ass here and catch me. Then, Secludeless ignored Sparrow Light, who was flustered and exasperated. He jumped down from the city wall and started to gather his clansmen in the city master's mansion. The members of the Devouring Clan were scared out of their wits. They knew that Zhuowen had set up a powerful formation in their tribe. However, they didn't have any idea about the power of the formation. They knew how terrifying the Divine Sparrow Clan was. They were afraid that the formation couldn't stop the Divine Sparrow Clan's army. The entire Devouring Clan would be exterminated by the Divine Sparrow Clan. Secludeless was eager to try. The other clansmen didn't know the power of the 10-directional cloud annihilation formation, but he did. He was sure that if the Divine Sparrow Clan's army dared to attack the city, they would be defeated. You're just a small fry. You dare to humiliate me? Today, I will destroy the entire Devouring Clan. Seeing Secludeless ignore him, Sparrow Light was so angry that his face turned pale. He pulled the reins with his right hand, commanding the army to attack the Devouring Clan's city. Tayo, who was originally following behind Sparrow Brilliance, wanted to open her mouth to stop Sparrow Brilliance because Secludeless' actions just now were too arrogant. How could the Devouring Clan become so arrogant all of a sudden? She felt that something was wrong. However, Sparrow Light was so angry that he had lost his mind. He had already rushed forward. It was too late for Tayo to stop him. Tayo's beautiful eyes twinkled. She didn't follow the Divine Sparrow Clan's army. Instead, she followed them from a distance. Boom! The gate of the Devouring Clan's city was trampled. The Divine Sparrow Clan's army rushed into the city without any obstruction. However, the moment the Divine Sparrow Clan's army entered the city, they found something wrong. They didn't see any member of the Devouring Clan behind the city gate. At the end of the street behind the city gate, a figure slowly walked out. It was a young warrior of the Devouring Clan. His eyes were clear and excited. Sparrow Brilliance was leading the army. When he saw the young man from the Devouring Clan, he was enraged. This young man from the Devouring Clan was the one who had insulted him on the city wall. Are you scared now? Did he come out to surrender? Unfortunately, you no longer have the chance. Sparrow Brilliance clasped his hands behind his back. His eyes were filled with arrogance, and the corners of his mouth curled into a cruel smile. Now die! Sparrow Brilliance's right hand made a grabbing motion in the air, and the blazing golden light transformed into a golden broadsword. He threw it out abruptly, cutting through the air and heading straight for Secluded Void. Sparrow Brilliance was a late-stage creation realm expert. A casual strike from him could kill an early-stage creation realm expert. As for Secludeless, he wasn't even a creator. In Sparrow Gleam's opinion, Secludeless was dead for sure. Secluded Weo took a deep breath and took out an array flag. His hands quickly formed a seal, and the array flag suddenly flew out and floated in the middle of the city. Instantly, clouds and mist gushed out. A cloud dragon formed and swooped down, biting the golden broadsword that was heading for Secluded Void into dust. Sparrow Brilliance's expression changed slightly. He felt that the aura of the entire Devouring Clan city had changed. It had become fierce and filled with terrifying killing intent. A killing array? Sparrow Brilliance felt the terrifying killing intent around him, and immediately knew that there was a powerful killing array in the Devouring Clan's city. The divine Sparrow Clan army behind Sparrow Brilliance immediately became restless. Humph! How could a mere Devouring Clan have such a powerful killing array? Break it for me. Sparrow Brilliance stomped his feet and flew off his horse. A golden broadsword appeared in his hands, and he rushed toward the cloud dragon in front of Secluded Void. Sparrow Brilliance's words calmed the hearts of the divine Sparrow Clan army. In their hearts, Sparrow Brilliance was the strongest. This killing array could be broken by Sparrow Brilliance alone. When Sparrow Brilliance and the cloud dragon collided, Sparrow Brilliance was sent flying like trash by the cloud dragon's tail. Then, the cloud dragon soared up and swallowed Sparrow Brilliance. Sparrow Brilliance's screams came to an abrupt end after being swallowed by the cloud dragon. Silence! The entire Devouring Clan city was in complete silence. The divine Sparrow Clan army was dumbfounded. They did not even have time to react to what had happened before Sparrow Brilliance was killed. Secluded Void was also stunned, but then his face was filled with ecstasy. He did not expect the 10-directional cloud annihilation array to be so powerful. A late-stage creation realm expert like Sparrow Brilliance was killed in one move. Boom, boom, boom. After the cloud dragon swallowed Sparrow Brilliance, it roared into the sky. The countless clouds that surrounded the city condensed into cloud dragons one after another. A total of 10 cloud dragons condensed in the sky above the city and swooped down toward the divine Sparrow Clan army. At that moment, the entire divine Sparrow Clan army was so frightened that their legs turned to jelly. Their faces were frighteningly pale. Tayo, who was standing at the back of the army, was even paler. She involuntarily knelt on the ground, and her beautiful eyes lost all fighting spirit. It's over. The divine Sparrow Clan is done for. Tayo muttered to herself. Then she saw the 10 cloud dragons rushing into the divine Sparrow Clan army. They got closer and closer to her, and finally they completely engulfed her. 2 months later, Zhuowen looked at the shadow of a huge city that appeared in the distance, and a trace of relief appeared on his face. This huge city was suspended 100 meters above a wasteland, and golden red flames surrounded the huge city. These flames seemed to have a mind of their own. They constantly surrounded the huge city and then rushed up into the sky. It was as if a divine bird was going to soar into the sky from these flames. Phew! We've finally arrived at Phoenix Blood City. Yu Lu stood beside Zhuo when, as the corners of his mouth revealed a trace of a smile. Along the way, Yu Lu introduced Phoenix Blood City to Zhuowen. It was said that Phoenix Blood City was a huge city that the Phoenix people had built outside their clan. This city was tens of thousands of times bigger than an ordinary city. The purpose of building this city was to allow the many subordinate forces of the Phoenix people to trade and interact in Phoenix Blood City. The location of Phoenix Blood City was also very unique. It was built in the center of the many subordinate forces of the Phoenix people. It was not far from any of the subordinate forces of the Phoenix people. Apart from the subordinate forces of the Phoenix people, Phoenix Blood City also welcomed other foreign races into the city. However, foreign races that entered Phoenix Blood City had to strictly abide by the rules. Otherwise, they would be easily eliminated by the law enforcers in the city. Before coming, Yu Lu had already said that it was impossible for Zhuowen to directly enter the cities of the Fire Elephant Clan and the Sacred Marten Clan unless he fought his way in. After all, the cities of the Fire Elephant Clan and the Sacred Marten Clan were where their clansmen gathered. If one was not their guest, why would they allow one to enter their cities? This was the same logic as those powerful sects in the human territory, where outsiders were not allowed to enter. Before confirming the exact location of the Ho-E Divine Arrow, It was indeed inappropriate for Zhuowen to immediately rush over. However, Phoenix Blood City was different. Foreign races could enter this place. Chapter 32:22. Enforcers, after receiving the Heavenly Law Origin Crystal from Yulu, the guards of Phoenix Blood City impatiently allowed Zhuowen and Yulu to enter the city. They didn't even bother to check. Phoenix Blood City has a strong clan like the Phoenix people behind them. They are powerful, so they aren't afraid of people causing trouble in the city. If someone deliberately causes trouble, they usually end up in a miserable state. Yulu led Zhuowen into the city and smiled as he spoke to Zhuowen. After entering Phoenix Blood City, Zhuowen discovered that there was only one huge street in Phoenix Blood City. This street was like a river that ran through the entire Phoenix Blood City. On both sides of the street, there were beautiful and exquisite shops that sold all kinds of things. On the street, there were people coming and going. Of course, they were all strange-looking foreign clans. Lord Zhuowen, my friend invited us to the Green Blood Tea House for a chat. Yulu said as he looked at Zhuowen, seeking his opinion. You lead the way. I'm not familiar with this place. Zhuowen said indifferently, the Green Blood Tea House is one of the more famous tea houses in Phoenix Blood City. It's in the middle of Phoenix Blood City and is quite a distance from here. Why don't I let my friend choose a place that's closer to here? Yulu continued, no need. Let's go there. I can take a stroll around Phoenix Blood City. Zhuowen said. Yulu nodded and led Zhuowen into the depths of the street. It had to be said that Phoenix Blood City was indeed very lively. On the way, Zhuowen saw many clans that he didn't recognize. Moreover, the shops in Phoenix Blood City had everything. Zhuowen saw many rare divine medicines, refining materials, as well as high-grade divine tools. However, the prices of these things were extremely high. Moreover, these divine medicines and materials were too low grade for Zhuowen, so he wasn't too interested. With Zhuowen's current level, unless it was a rare creation grade divine medicine or a heaven-reaching grade divine medicine, it really wouldn't attract his interest. Your immortal treasure pavilion is forcing people to buy and sell. Do you even know the rules? This Scorching Sun immortal conglomerate stone is clearly mine. I just want you to appraise it. If the price you offer is suitable, I will sell it to your immortal treasure pavilion. But I'm not satisfied with the price you gave me. Now, you actually have the audacity to say that the Scorching Sun immortal congealed stone belongs to your Myriad Treasure Pavilion, slandering me as a thief. Your Myriad Treasure Pavilion is shameless. An outsider was standing in front of a shop. His voice was very loud, and his face and ears were red. It was clear that he was very angry. The voice of this foreign race also attracted the attention of the other foreign races that were shopping around. Zhuowen and Yulu also turned their gazes towards the Immortal Treasure Pavilion. The reason why Zhuowen paid attention to this place was mainly because he heard about the Scorching Sun Immortal Congealed Stone. He also knew that the Scorching Sun Immortal Condensing Stone was a kind of creation-grade material. This kind of material was very rare and ordinary to him, so he originally wouldn't care about it. However, Xiao He sent him a message through divine thought saying that the Scorching Sun Immortal Congealed Stone was not ordinary. It would be very helpful for the Blood Immortal Sword and the Death Sacrifice Sword to upgrade. There were a total of 3 figures in the Immortal Treasure Pavilion. One of them was a big-bellied foreign race. At first glance, one could tell that he was the owner of the Immortal Treasure Pavilion. The other 2 were burly and vigorous. They should be the bodyguards of the Immortal Treasure Pavilion. The big-bellied owner saw that the foreign race was holding the brocade box tightly in his hand and was making a lot of noise to attract the attention of the surrounding foreign races. His face was very ugly. He was in the wrong in this matter. Now that this customer didn't know what was good for him and made the matter public, he was naturally embarrassed. What a shameless person. He took away something that belongs to our immortal treasure pavilion and still wants to smear our name. How despicable. The two of you beat him to death and then take back the scorching sun immortal congealed stone from this thief's hand, the owner said angrily. As soon as the owner finished speaking, the two burly foreign race people took a step forward. Their fists rained down on the disheveled foreign race person. The foreign race person who was beaten up wasn't very strong. He was only the Lord of Mystery. The two bodyguards' cultivations were one realm higher than him. They were both eternal overlords. The result was obvious. The foreign race person was no match for them. He was beaten black and blue and spat out blood. The brocade box in his hand was also snatched away by one of the bodyguards. Thump, thump, thump. The sound of orderly footsteps suddenly came from the depths of the street. Then, Joan saw a group of people dressed in fiery red armor rushing in his direction. Strangely, everywhere this group passed, the xenorace experts on the streets would open up a path for them while revealing fearful and reverent expressions in their eyes. Joan narrowed his eyes. He was all too familiar with the aura of this group. They were all Phoenix people. He had interacted with the Phoenix people many times. He had even kidnapped the Phoenix people's holy maiden. He was naturally very familiar with the unique aura of the Phoenix people. There were more than 30 people in this group. Each of them had a strong aura. They were much stronger than the average foreign race person. The leader was a middle-aged man with a flame pattern between his eyebrows. Joan knew that this was the symbol of the Phoenix people. The Phoenix people's holy maiden also had such a flame pattern between her eyebrows. However, the Phoenix people's holy maiden had a much brighter and fiercer pattern. This meant that the bloodline of the Phoenix people's holy maiden was much higher than that of the average Phoenix people. The middle-aged man arrived in front of the immortal treasure pavilion. He glanced at the wounded foreign race person on the ground, then at the shop owner and his two bodyguards. He said coldly, "What's going on here? Isn't there a rule in Phoenix Blood City that forbids private fights?" The pot-bellied shop owner hurriedly walked out. He pointed at the foreign race person on the ground and said, "Lord Xiushi, this person came here to buy immortal treasures. He took a fancy to the immortal scorching sunstone. He said that he wanted to take a look first. Naturally, I showed it to him, who knew that this shameless person would immediately claim that the immortal scorching sunstone was his after seeing it. Then, he insisted that we were blackmailing him. I was also forced to let my two bodyguards snatch it. However, he didn't cooperate, so we could only use force." As he spoke, the shop owner took out a storage bag and handed it to the middle-aged man. He said, "I also know that we have violated the rules. Take this as my apology to you, Lord." The middle-aged man, named Xiushi, took the storage bag under the watchful eyes of the crowd. He looked at it carefully and revealed a satisfied expression. "Seeing that you were also forced to do this, I will not pursue the matter," Xiushi said indifferently. "Then, I really have to thank you, Lord. You are indeed magnanimous." The shop owner's expression was respectful, but he hated that foreign race person to the core. If this fellow had not made such a big fuss, there would not have been so much trouble. He even lost so many heavenly law origin crystals for nothing. "Lord Enforcer, this unscrupulous merchant has wronged me. The immortal scorching sunstone is clearly mine. I brought it to the immortal treasure pavilion to appraise. If the price was right, I would have sold it. However, the immortal treasure pavilion is shameless. They actually wanted to force a sale. The price was far lower than the value of the immortal scorching sunstone. They even tried to snatch it. I only acted in self-defense." The wretched foreign race person hurriedly defended himself. Zhuowen, who was standing in the crowd, secretly shook his head. If this fellow had not spoken, perhaps it would not have been a big deal. Now that he had spoken, he was really done for. Sure enough, Xioshi's face was gloomy. He said coldly, "You are quite bold. First, you deceived the Immortal Treasure Pavilion. Now, you want to deceive me. This is a double crime. Men, take this person away and lock him in the dungeon." Chapter 32:23. Scorching sun, immortal congealed stone. Zhuowen couldn't help but frown as he watched the enforcer drag the alien away. He could tell that the alien wasn't lying. There must be something fishy in the words of the Immortal Treasure Pavilion's owner. However, the enforcer didn't even ask any questions before capturing the alien. What made Zhuowen feel even more disdain was that the enforcer called Xioshu had blatantly accepted bribes from the Immortal Treasure Pavilion's owner in front of them. If the enforcers were all like this, then the Phoenix Blood City's rule of not fighting would be a joke. Zhuowen didn't speak up for the alien. Instead, he silently recorded the entire scene with his crystal ball. After Xioshu ordered the enforcers to drag the alien away, he whispered something to the shop owner. The shop owner revealed a fawning smile before Xioshu left. Once the enforcer left, the surrounding aliens also dispersed. Their gazes were as calm as an ancient well. It was obvious that they were already used to this. Lu could tell from Zhuowen's expression just now. So he said softly, "Lord Zhuo, in Phoenix Blood City, the enforcers are the iron law. They definitely can't be offended. Even if a third step almighty enters Phoenix Blood City, they wouldn't easily offend the enforcers. After all, the enforcers are people of the Phoenix people. Once you offend them, it'll be terrible." Zhuowen nodded, but he sneered in his heart. He wasn't afraid of the Phoenix people. His purpose for coming here was to cause trouble for the Phoenix people. However, he didn't want to act rashly and alert the enemy. He also didn't want to poke his nose into other people's business. Naturally, there was no need for him to stand out. Zhuowen walked towards the Immortal Treasure Pavilion. Lu's pupils shrank as he hurriedly chased after Zhuowen. He was afraid that Zhuowen would seek justice for what had happened just now. "Brother Lu, don't worry. I'm only going to the Immortal Treasure Pavilion to buy the Scorching Sun Immortal Congealed Stone," Zhuowen said with a faint smile. Lu was even more anxious now. From the scene, just now, he had also realized what was going on. This Immortal Treasure Pavilion was a black shop. Why did Zhuowen still want to buy things here? Wasn't this just inviting trouble? Zhuowen did not care about what Lu was thinking as he arrived at the entrance of the Immortal Treasure Pavilion. At this moment, the shopkeeper had yet to enter the shop. When he saw Zhuowen striding over, he cast a sidelong glance at Zhuowen and said indifferently, "Little brother, what do you want to buy?" The shopkeeper's tone was not very good. He recognized that Zhuowen was also a bystander just now. He was not sure if the young man in front of him was really buying something. The two bodyguards standing behind the shop owner suddenly stepped forward and stared coldly at Zhuowen. Their eyes were filled with hostility. The corners of Zhuowen's mouth curled up slightly. He looked at the brocade box in the shop owner's hand and said, "Shop owner, this Scorching Sun Immortal Condensing Stone is useful to me. How much do you intend to sell it for?" The shop owner was startled. He clearly had not expected that Zhuowen had come to buy the Scorching Sun Immortal Condensing Stone that he had just forced to sell. The shop owner glanced at Zhuowen and Lu with apprehension, because he realized that the auras of these two people were even more vigorous than his bodyguards. Their cultivations were definitely above the Eternal Overlord realm. However, when he remembered that this was Phoenix Blood City, he immediately felt more confident and revealed a standard smile at the same time. "Dear customer, you have a good eye. This scorching sun immortal condensing stone is something that I have spent a lot of effort to obtain. You should know that back then, in order to obtain this scorching sun immortal condensing stone, just as the shop owner was about to talk nonsense in front of Zhuowen, he was immediately stopped by Zhuowen. I don't want to know the origin of this scorching sun immortal condensing stone. I just want to know how many heavenly law origin crystals it costs to buy this scorching sun immortal condensing stone. The shop owner's eyes flickered. After thinking for a while, he stretched out 5 fingers and gestured in front of Zhuowen. He smiled and said, "I see that you and I are fated, so I'll give you a discount. 50 million high-grade, heavenly law origin crystals." Zhuowen narrowed his eyes and coldly looked at the shop owner in front of him. Although the scorching sun immortal condensing stone was a relatively precious creation-grade material, its price could not be so outrageous. 5 million high-grade, heavenly law origin crystals was enough to buy this scorching sun immortal condensing stone. However, this shop owner had actually quoted a price of 50 million high-grade, heavenly law origin crystals. This was simply a blatant extortion. "Shop owner, isn't this price a little too high?" Zhuowen said in an unfriendly tone. The shop owner was very bold and did not feel embarrassed in the slightest. He smiled and said, "Dear customer, this is the price of the scorching sun immortal condensing stone in Phoenix Blood City. Moreover, I dare guarantee that in the entire city, only my shop has scorching sun immortal condensing stone. I can't take out so many heavenly law origin crystals in a short period of time. I'll use divine pills to exchange with you." Zhuowen frowned slightly. He did have so many heavenly law origin crystals in his great world, but taking them out was a little painful for him. After all, heavenly law origin crystals were too important to his daily cultivation. He could not bear to take out so many. However, if he used divine pills to exchange, the pressure on him would be much lighter. After all, he was a master alchemist and had many high-grade divine pills on him. Do you have any creation-grade divine pills? If you don't, it's not enough to exchange for this scorching sun immortal condensing stone. The shop owner said, lazily, "This Tai Chi energy gathering divine pill is a creation-grade divine pill. I think it's enough to exchange for this scorching sun immortal condensing stone." Zhuowen took out the Tai Chi energy gathering divine pill he had refined in the devouring clan tribe and handed it to the shop owner. "It's actually the Tai Chi energy gathering divine pill." The shop owner's eyes lit up with ecstasy as he received the divine pill from Zhuowen. This Tai Chi energy gathering divine pill was a precious divine pill that could help a creator break through to the creator realm. No cultivator below the creator realm could resist this divine pill. However, he quickly restrained his joy and took the Tai Chi energy gathering divine pill. He looked at Zhuowen expectantly and asked, "Do you have more on you?" "1 Tai Chi energy gathering divine pill should be enough to exchange for this scorching sun immortal condensing stone, right?" Zhuowen said indifferently. 10. Customer, if you can take out 10 Tai Chi energy gathering divine pills, this scorching sun immortal condensing stone is yours. The shop owner said expectantly. Zhuowen glanced at the shop owner indifferently and took out 9 Tai Chi energy gathering divine pills. Speaking of which, 10 Tai Chi energy gathering divine pills were really nothing to Zhuowen. Of course, if not for Xiaohei's strong request to buy this scorching sun immortal condensing stone, even if Zhuowen did not care much about the Tai Chi energy gathering divine pills, he would not have taken out 10 to exchange for this item. After receiving the other 9 Tai Chi energy gathering divine pills, the shop owner trembled with excitement. He did not expect this young man to really take out 9 more Tai Chi energy gathering divine pills. Didn't this mean that this young man had even more Creator Realm divine pills on him? Thinking of this, the shop owner trembled with excitement. Zhuowen said indifferently, "Shop owner, give me the Scorching Sun Immortal Condensing Stone." Customer, 10 Tai Chi Energy Gathering Divine Pills might not be enough. If you take out another 10, I'll give you this Scorching Sun Immortal Condensing Stone without another word. The shopkeeper's throat trembled as he spoke with a greedy gaze. "Oh, are you courting death?" Chapter 32:24. That dismantle the shop owner was fearless, and he hurriedly retreated into the shop. He made a hand seal with his right hand, and a ripple of array formation appeared at the entrance of the shop. Zhuowen was a little surprised. The array formation that appeared at the entrance of the shop was actually a God of Creation stage defensive array formation. This Immortal Treasure Pavilion's shop wasn't very big, but it actually had such a powerful defensive array formation. This made Zhuowen feel a little surprised. "Lord Zhua, all the shops in Phoenix Blood City have their own independent array formations. These array formations were set up by the God formation masters of the Phoenix people at a high price. The higher the level of the array formation, the higher the price. This Immortal Treasure Pavilion must have spent a lot of heavenly Tao origin crystals to hire a God of Creation stage formation master to set up such an array formation in their shop." Yu Lu explained softly beside Zhuowen. There was hesitation in his eyes as he said, "Lord Zhua, once the array formation is activated, the enforcers will definitely be alerted. I think we should leave quickly. The enforcers should be here soon." Zhuowen nodded. His gaze passed through the array formation at the entrance of the shop and landed on the shop owner. "I don't want to waste any more time with you. Give me the Scorching Sun Immortal Congealed Stone, and I won't touch you or your shop." The shop owner laughed loudly, and there was a mocking look in his eyes. "Dear customer, where do you get your confidence from? You actually want to destroy my shop." After saying that, the shop owner sat down in the shop and poured himself a cup of wine. In his eyes, although Zhuowen and Yu Lu's auras were powerful, they were only God of Creation stage cultivators. The array formation at the entrance of his shop was a God of Creation stage defensive array formation, and it was enough to stop the two of them for a while. Soon, the enforcers would be here. When that time came, he would use the same trick again. The two of them would suffer the same fate as the last outsider, and he would have obtained 10 Tai Chi Spirit Gathering Divine Pills for free. At this moment, many outsiders had gathered around the shop again. When they saw the defensive array formation at the entrance of the Immortal Treasure Pavilion, they all shook their heads. They knew that the two people at the entrance of the shop were unlucky. Zhuowen sneered, and he took a step forward and threw a punch at the entrance of the shop. "You actually dared to take on the formation head-on. You're simply brainless." The shopkeeper took a sip of tea and saw Zhuowen punch towards the array. He couldn't help but laugh loudly. Rumble! Zhuowen's fist smashed the big array. His right hand turned into a claw and swept out like lightning, blasting the two bodyguards in front of him into a bloody mist. Then he grabbed the pot-bellied shopkeeper. The shopkeeper had just taken a sip of tea, but before he could swallow it, Zhuowen grabbed his neck with his right hand. This, what's going on?" The shopkeeper was astonished. When had the God of Creation stage defensive formation in front of his shop become so fragile? Spare, my life." The shopkeeper's body trembled as he sensed the terrifying killing intent in Zhuowen's eyes. He almost knelt down and begged for mercy. Unfortunately, Zhuowen didn't give him another chance. He exerted force with his right hand and snapped the shopkeeper's neck. A powerful force invaded the shopkeeper's mind and crushed his soul. The moment he killed the shopkeeper, Zhuowen took away the shopkeeper's spiritual ring. Zhuowen swung his right hand and threw the shopkeeper onto the signboard of the Immortal Treasure Pavilion. The shopkeeper's huge body smashed the signboard into pieces. Then, the signboard fell to the ground heavily. Yulu, let's go! Zhuowen grabbed Yulu. The space-time energy swirled around them, and they disappeared on the spot. After Zhua, Wen's Panga's sacred body had fused with the candle dragon goo, his use of the power of time and space had almost reached another wonderful level. When he disappeared and left, no one around saw it clearly. Not long after Zhuowen disappeared, Xiaoshi arrived with a team of law enforcers. When Xiaoshi saw that the signboard of the Immortal Treasure Pavilion had been smashed and that the shopkeeper and 2 bodyguards were dead in the shop, he was furious. Who did this? Xiaoshi glanced at the surrounding alien tribes with an unfriendly gaze. The surrounding alien tribes' eyes flickered. They were all frightened by Xiaoshi's fierce gaze. They quickly waved their hands, indicating that they had nothing to do with the destruction of the Immortal Treasure Pavilion. Master Xiaoshi, it was done by 2 members of the Devouring Clan. An alien tribe member walked out with fear. He took out a crystal ball and handed it to Xiaoshi. Xiaoshi took the crystal ball and looked at the recording. The recording was the scene where Zhuowen had broken the restriction at the entrance of the shop with 1 punch and killed the shopkeeper instantly. Xiaoshi put away the crystal ball and said to the alien tribe member, "You're good. Since you've done well, if you want to join the law enforcers, just tell them my name. I'm sure you can join the law enforcers." "Thank you, Master Xiaoshi." The alien tribe member was overjoyed. Under many envious gazes, he bowed to Xiaoshi. The law enforcers of the Phoenix Blood City were the most popular profession. All the alien tribes in the Phoenix Blood City wanted to join the law enforcers. Unfortunately, the law enforcers of the Phoenix Blood City were very strict. Unless you had some connections, it was almost impossible to join the law enforcers through the proper channels. That alien tribe member had just given Xiaoshi the recording in the crystal ball, and he easily got the qualification to join the law enforcers. How could the other alien tribes not be jealous of him? Xiaoshi talked to the alien tribe member for a while, and then took his team away. The Immortal Treasure Pavilion was a shop in the Phoenix Blood City, and someone had destroyed it. This was really bad. Xiaoshi had to mobilize the rest of the law enforcers to search for the 2 bold members of the Devouring Clan. The Purple River slowly disappeared. Zhuowen and Yulu had arrived at the middle section of the Phoenix Blood City street. The middle and back sections of the street were even more crowded. All of them were experts of the outsider races. Zhuowen and Yulu had changed their appearances and the aura of the Devouring Clan on their bodies. Then they walked to the Green Blood Tea House, which wasn't far from here. As Zhuowen had just destroyed the Immortal Treasure Pavilion, the law enforcers must have noticed him. If they swaggered on the street like that, it was no different than courting death. The Green Blood Tea House was a high-class place in the Phoenix Blood City. It was a 10-zhang-tall building. Among the many shops, it stood out like a crane in a flock of chickens. Entering the Green Blood Tea House, a beautiful alien tribe woman wearing a cheongsam leisurely walked over. Her beautiful face was filled with a professional smile. This beautiful alien tribe woman didn't look different from a human. The only difference was that she had a white, furry fox tail. 9-tailed fox tribe. Zhuowen was surprised. This beautiful alien tribe woman had the same aura as Mei Ying, whom he had met in the Slaughter Heavenly Domain. However, her aura was much weaker. This woman was just a newbie who had just reached the Tao realm. Hearing Zhuowen mention the 9-tailed fox tribe, the beautiful alien tribe woman's face stiffened. She hurried to say, "Sir, you're joking. I'm Hu Mei. I'm not from the noble 9-tailed fox tribe. I'm just from the White Fox tribe." Master Zhua, the White Fox tribe and the 9-tailed fox tribe are similar. However, their positions are as different as heaven and earth. The members of the White Fox tribe have only one tail, while the nine-tailed fox tribe has at least two tails. It's impossible for them to have only one tail. Yulu lowered his voice to Zhuowen. I'm sorry. I was rash. Zhuowen apologized. Chapter 32:25. Siko, two guests. Our green blood tea house has 10 floors, with the lowest floor being the worst and the 10th floor being the best. Naturally, the price increases with each floor. May I know which floor's private room you would like to go to? Hume said as she handed Zhuowen and Yulu a palm-sized jade token each. This jade token recorded a lot of information about the Green Blood Tea House, as well as the various teas, pastries, and other delicacies in the Green Blood Tea House, as well as the corresponding prices. With a sweep of divine sense, this information could be clearly seen. We have a friend who has booked a private room here, the 3rd floor's heaven room. Yulu said as he returned the jade token to Hume. By the time Zhuowen and Yulu arrived at the Bishua tea house, Yulu's acquaintance had already sent Yulu the private room he had booked. Therefore, the two of them did not need to book an additional private room. They only needed to report the room number. 2 guests, please follow me. Hume smiled as she put away Zhuowen and Yulu's jade tokens and led them to the 3rd floor. 2 guests, this is the 3rd floor's heaven room. You may enter. Hume will withdraw first. After Hume finished speaking, she automatically withdrew, while Zhuowen and Yulu opened the door and entered. The private room was very spacious, and near the window there was a carved jade table. At this moment, a middle-aged man in a black trench coat was sitting on top of the jade table. Originally, the middle-aged man was paying attention to the scenery outside the window, but when he heard the door open, he slowly turned his head. The moment Zhuowen saw the middle-aged man's face, he couldn't help shuddering, because this person's face was covered in terrifying scars. Zhuowen could see that these scars used to be hard scales, but now they were completely destroyed, leaving behind only a series of scars. There were almost no intact scars on his face. Before coming here, Yulu had mentioned this person to Zhuowen. It was said that Yulu himself didn't know what race this person was from. He only knew that this person was called Siko. When Yulu first came to Phoenix Blood City, he had sought out this person to cooperate with him, inquiring about some enemy races, and the information this person provided was completely accurate and reliable. This was also the reason why Yulu insisted on looking for this person. Furthermore, the moment he entered the private room, Zhuowen discovered that there was a strange energy lingering around Saiku. This strange energy was like a layer of gauze, completely concealing Siko's aura. Zhuowen actually couldn't see through Saiku's cultivation. Have a seat. Tell me why you're looking for me. Saiku merely glanced at Zhuowen and Yulu. After saying this, he turned his head and looked out the window. It was as if he had no intention of paying attention to Zhuowen and Yulu if they did not speak. Zhuowen and Yulu looked at each other. Yulu smiled awkwardly and said, Brother Saiku, I'm just a referral this time. The one who's really looking for you is this Lord Zhua. He has something to ask you. Saiku turned his head and sized up Zhuowen. Clearly, he was a little surprised. This Zhuowen's cultivation was clearly weaker than Yulu's, but Yulu actually respectfully addressed this person as Lord. If you want to inquire about something, you should know my rules, right? Saiku said indifferently. Zhuowen nodded, took out 1,000 high-grade Heavenly Law Origin crystals, and handed them to Saiku. Saiku took the 1,000 high-grade Heavenly Law Origin crystals without any trace of politeness and said calmly, Ask away. If I think the question is too difficult, you'll have to pay more. Zhuowen smiled and said, What I want to ask is, is the Ho-E divine arrow that the Fire Elephant clan and Sacred Marten clan stole from the Devouring clan still in their clan? If not, where is it? This question is not simple. It requires at least 100,000 high-grade, heavenly law origin crystals. Saiku said expressionlessly. Zhuowen generously handed Saiku a storage bag with 100,000 high-grade, heavenly law origin crystals. Saiku counted, and then said in a low voice, Ho-E divine arrow is still in the two clans. Moreover, I know that the Ho-E divine arrow of the Fire Elephant clan is in the hands of the young master of the Fire Elephant clan. The young master of the Fire Elephant clan, Mao Bo, is the monstrous genius of the Fire Elephant clan in the last 10,000 years. His innate talent is really high. I heard that in the Phoenix people's territory, he's second only to the saintess of the Phoenix people. The current patriarch of the Fire Elephant clan, Liang Su, loves Mao Bo a lot. He almost spoils him to the sky. He depends on Mao Bo for everything. Mao Bo wanted the Ho-E divine arrow, and Liang Su didn't hesitate to give it to Mao Bo. At this point, Saiku leaned back and looked at Zhuowen with a smirk. Zhuowen took out another storage bag and said indifferently, Continue. Saiku took the storage bag, checked its contents, and revealed a satisfied look before continuing. Mao Bo happened to be in Phoenix Blood City during this period of time. I heard that Mao Bo's main objective in coming to Phoenix Blood City this time was to woo the Sacred Marten race's genius, Yuanfu. Given Mao Bo's personality, he definitely carried the Ho-E divine arrow with him. Zhuowen's eyes lit up when he heard that. If what Saiku said was true, then the Ho-E divine arrow of the Fire Elephant clan wouldn't pose much of a problem to him. I advise you to think thrice before you act. Mao Bo is a monstrous genius. His cultivation is already at the peak of the Genesis stage, and he can fight against a mid-stage creation lord. Given your strength, you will just be asking for a beating if you go there. Furthermore, Mao Bo is always secretly protected by exceptional experts from the Fire Elephant clan. Even if you can defeat Mao Bo, you will die on the spot, Saiku said mockingly. You don't have to meddle in my affairs. You just have to tell me what you know. Now, tell me the whereabouts of the Sacred Marten races, Ho-E divine arrow. Zhuowen said indifferently. Although Saiku had been rebutted, he wasn't angry. Instead, he crossed his legs and didn't say anything. Zhuowen took out another storage bag and tossed it to Saiku. Speak. Saiku put away the storage bag and grinned. Friend, you are very smart. The Sacred Marten race's Ho-E divine arrow should have been kept in the clan. I don't know the details inside. However, I believe that Yuanfu definitely knows. If you can catch Yuanfu's eye and get her to bring you into the Sacred Marten race, you can seize the opportunity to steal the Ho-E divine arrow. Saiku's face was filled with ridicule as he laughed out loud. Unfortunately, halfway through his laugh, he was slapped to the ground, causing a deep red mark to appear on his cheek. Saiku got up and glared coldly at Zhuowen as a terrifying aura erupted. How dare you hit me? Saiku gnashed his teeth as he glared at Zhuowen. Zhuowen sat calmly on the spot and said indifferently, I only asked you to give me information earlier. I didn't ask you to give me any lousy ideas. You're courting death. Saiku flew into a rage. His right hand formed a claw and grabbed at Zhuowen. Unfortunately, Zhuowen easily grabbed Saiku's right hand. The powerful force caused Saiku to grimace in pain, and he was extremely shocked in his heart. Your internal organs have been shattered. Now, you're only relying on your heart to maintain your body. It must be very difficult. Zhuowen said indifferently. Saiku's expression changed drastically. He hurriedly withdrew his hand and looked at Zhuowen in disbelief. How did you know? Zhuowen didn't answer Saiku's question. When he couldn't see through Saiku, he secretly used the torch dragon's eye to see through Saiku. Saiku's cultivation was very high. Zhuowen believed that this guy was at least a Skirich lord. However, his internal organs had been destroyed by a terrifying force, leaving only his heart intact. His body was also suppressed by that force and couldn't recover from his internal injuries. He had less than 10% of his strength left. He could only use the strength of a peak Genesis lord. Chapter 32:26. The Shadow Clan. Friend, do you have a way to save me? Saiku asked respectfully. He was no fool. He knew that this young man had seen through his problem with a single glance, so he definitely had a solution. Back then, he had been hunted down by a powerful enemy. He had narrowly escaped death, but he had managed to escape with his life in the end. However, that enemy's power contained a powerful curse energy. This curse energy had corroded his organs. Once his internal organs were completely corroded, the power of the curse would seep into his soul and eventually annihilate it. At that time, he would undoubtedly die. Over the years, his organs had constantly been corroded, and his strength had constantly declined. He had tried countless methods, but none of them had been able to resolve the problem of the curse energy in his body. However, this young man had seen through his problem with a single glance. How could Saiku not be overjoyed? He seemed to have found hope. He stared at Zhuowen with blazing eyes, his eyes filled with anticipation. If I'm not wrong, the power in your body should be a type of curse power. Zhuowen continued. The shining dragon eye could not just see things. It could also analyze what it saw, so Zhuowen could tell with a single glance that the energy was a curse energy. Saiku's face flushed with excitement. He hurriedly returned all the heavenly law origin crystals to Zhuowen and knelt in front of Zhuowen. He said expectantly, "Friend, if you can help me resolve my problem, I'll agree to anything you want. I can indeed resolve your problem, but the price will be great. I'll suffer a great loss." Zhuowen said indifferently. Saiku's expression changed slightly. He hurriedly took off his spirit ring and handed it to Zhuowen. "Sir, this spirit ring contains all my savings over the years. There are tens of millions of heavenly law origin crystals in there, as well as many refining materials and divine medicines. I'll give them all to you. I only hope that you can resolve my problem." Saiku looked at Zhuowen with an urgent gaze. He had also changed the way he addressed Zhuowen from friend to sir. Zhuowen returned the spirit ring to Saiku and said indifferently, "I do not need your spirit ring. I still have one last question to ask you. If your question can satisfy me, I can help you resolve the hidden danger in your body." "Sir, what's the question you want to ask? As long as I know it, I'll definitely give you a satisfactory answer." Saiku asked, "Have you heard of a woman named Mu Chinxue among the Phoenix people?" Zhuowen's eyes flashed with a strange light. He suppressed the excitement in his heart. Saiku was stunned. He looked at Zhuowen in confusion and thought for a while. Finally, he shook his head and said, "My lord, I'm sorry. I know a little about the Phoenix clan. I've heard of all the famous experts there, but I've never heard of the name Mu Chinxue." Zhuowen was disappointed. It seemed that the Phoenix people had secretly imprisoned Mu Chinxue after bringing her back. Even among the Phoenix people, there probably weren't many who knew about Mu Chinxue. It seemed that he could only ask the saintess of the Phoenix people about this. Saiku saw Zhuowen's disappointed expression and felt conflicted. Could it be that he had disappointed this sir? Sir wouldn't refuse to treat his problem, right? "Sir, if you really want to know about this Mu Chinxue, I can sneak into the Phoenix people and ask around for you." Saiku quickly said, "You're from the Phoenix people?" Zhuowen asked in astonishment. Saiku shook his head and said, "I'm not from the Phoenix people." I'm from the Shadow Clan. We Shadow Clan are natural assassins. Our talent is to imitate auras and imitate auras. The reason why I know so much about the Fire Elephant Clan and the Sacred Marten Clan is because I once imitated their auras and sneaked into their tribes. That's why I know so much inside information. Yulu was shocked. He looked at Saiku and said, "Brother Saiku, you're from the Shadow Clan? I thought the Shadow Clan was extinct. I didn't expect them to still exist." Saiku's eyes dimmed. He sighed and said, "Our Shadow Clan's talent is too heaven-defying. There are very few of us. Now, I'm the only one left in the Shadow Clan." Zhuowen thought highly of Saiku. He didn't expect Saiku to be able to imitate auras and sneak into a foreign tribe. His talent was too awesome. Zhuowen's eyes lit up. He thought of a good idea. His great world could turn into tiny dust particles. He could enter his great world and let the dust particles from his great world adhere to Saiku's body. Then, Saiku would bring him to the Phoenix people. If he was lucky and found Mu Chinxue, he could save Mu Chinxue and leave the Phoenix people. Saiku was very good at reading people's expressions. He saw the light in Zhuowen's eyes and knew that Zhuowen might be interested in his ability. "If you really have such an ability, I can save you, but I have a request. You must bring me into the Phoenix people. I have something important to do, and I need to enter the Phoenix people." Zhuowen said, "Sir, I can't bring you in. The Phoenix people are very sensitive to the auras of foreign tribes. If I didn't have the talent to imitate auras, I wouldn't be able to enter the Phoenix people." Saiku said, awkwardly, "Don't worry. I have a space artifact. I can enter it myself and turn into dust to hide on your body. When the time comes, you just have to bring that dust particle in." Zhuowen said. Saiku's eyes narrowed as he looked deeply at Zhuowen. He knew very well that ordinary space artifacts couldn't store living beings. Only an extremely high-level spatial artifact could allow living beings to be stored inside, and this type of spatial artifact usually contained a complete world. Such a high-grade spatial artifact was extremely rare and precious. Even many sovereign transcendence experts might not necessarily have such a high-grade spatial artifact. However, the young man in front of him had one. This made Saiku look at Zhuowen with even more respect and fear. He knew very well that someone who had such a space artifact definitely had a great background and couldn't be offended easily. "Sir, if you have such a space artifact, I can promise to bring you into the Phoenix people. I just don't know why you want to enter the Phoenix people." Saiku asked submissively. "You don't need to know that. You just need to know that I need you to bring me into the Phoenix people." "Oh, right. In order to dispel the power of the curse in your body, I might need to refine some divine pills for you to consume. Moreover, the power of the curse has corroded you too much. So, the treatment period will be longer." Zhuowen said. Saiku hurriedly said, "The treatment period doesn't matter. As long as you can cure the power of the curse in my body, I will be grateful." You can leave now. Next, I will need to refine pills to deal with the problem in your body. I will need to cultivate in seclusion for a few days." Zhuowen said calmly. Saiku bowed, respectfully, and followed Yulu out of the private room. After walking out of the private room, Saiku looked at Yulu and said, "Brother Yulu, is this sir also an alchemist?" Yulu's eyes were filled with reverence as he said in a low voice, "Yes, Sir Zhua is at least a creation-grade alchemist. If he says that he can cure your problem, then there will definitely be no problem. Last time, he gave me 3 essence-gathering divine pills. I only took 1, and I advanced from the mid-stage to the peak of the creator grade. After I completely stabilize my cultivation level, I plan to take the remaining 2 essence-gathering divine pills and break through to the creator grade in one go. Chapter 32:27. Immortal bird Purgatory Zhuan sat cross-legged in the private room and did not immediately start refining pills. The problem with Saika's body was the power of the curse. As long as the power of the curse was removed, it would be fine. Zhuan was a heaven-reaching alchemist, after all. The power of the curse was a very difficult problem for others, but it was very simple for him. He only needed to refine a 7-transformation curse pill to completely remove the power of the curse on Saika's body. Refining the 7-transformation curse pill did not take much time for Zhuan, so he was not in a hurry to refine the pill. Zhuan took out a brocade box from the outside world, while Xiaohe flew out with the Death Sacrifice Sword and Blood Immortal Sword, looking at the brocade box in Zhuan's hand expectantly. Zhuan threw the brocade box to Xiaohe and said with some pain, "Xiaohe, in exchange for a mere Scorching Sun Immortal Conglomerate Stone, I spent 10 Tai Chi Energy Gathering Divine Pills." Xiaohe took the brocade box and gave Zhuan the middle finger, saying, "You smashed the Immortal Treasure Pavilion, so those 10 Tai Chi Energy Gathering Divine Pills are back in your hands, and there's also the shopkeeper's spirit ring. I'm afraid there's a lot in there. Good stuff." Zhuan shrugged and didn't refute. If the shopkeeper wasn't so greedy and overbearing, Zhuan really did intend to continue the transaction with the shopkeeper. Unfortunately, the shopkeeper did not know what was good for him, so Zhuan had to take action. The brocade box opened, and the Scorching Sun Immortal Conglomerate Stone emitted a blazing light and floated in the air. Xiaohe controlled the Thunderfire Sword and suddenly stood on the surface of the Scorching Sun Immortal Conglomerate Stone. A powerful force burst out, and the Scorching Sun Immortal Conglomerate Stone shattered into countless powder that emitted light. These powders quickly recombined in midair, finally forming a spherical golden stone. This round stone emitted a dazzling light. From afar, it looked like a small sun. I really haven't seen it before. This is not a Scorching Sun Immortal Congealed Stone at all, but a higher grade, profound Sun God Congealed Stone. Ha! With this profound Sun God Congealed Stone, this Dragon Lord can advance again. Xiaohe laughed complacently. The device spirits of the Blood Immortal Sword and the Sacrificial Death Sword congratulated Xiaohe in a human-like manner. It's actually the profound Sun God Congealed Stone. Zhuan was also dumbfounded. This profound Sun God Congealed Stone was of a higher grade than the Scorching Sun Immortal Congealed Stone. However, it was a true transcending heaven-level refining material. It was an extremely rare refining material. However, the value of the profound Sun God Congealed Stone was far above the Scorching Sun Immortal Congealed Stone. Not to mention 10 Tai Chi Spirit Gathering Divine Pills. Even 100 Tai Chi Spirit Gathering Divine Pills would not be able to exchange for the profound Sun God Congealed Stone. This time, he had really picked up a huge treasure. Hee. Kid, thank you so much this time. I'll accept this profound Sun God Congealed Stone first. After I refine this profound Sun God Congealed Stone, I think I should be able to advance to the middle stage of the transcending heaven level. At that time, if you need anything, just tell me. I'll definitely help you to complete it. After Xiaohe said this happily, he took the Blood Immortal Sword and the Sacrificial Death Sword and entered the macro world. Zhuan's eyes were filled with envy. During this period of time, Xiaohe had obtained a lot of precious resources. His cultivation progress was so fast that even Zhuan was dumbfounded. He remembered that Xiaohe had advanced to the transcending heaven level not long ago. Now that he had obtained the profound Sun God Congealed Stone, he was actually going to advance again. This speed was a bit too fast. Device cultivators are really terrifying. As long as there are enough resources, there is no bottleneck at all. Zhuowen muttered to himself. He knew very well that device cultivators were gluttons. To embark on the path of device cultivators, one had to constantly search for resources to advance. Moreover, the resources needed by device cultivators could definitely be described as terrifying. If it weren't for Zhuowen's continuous fortuitous encounters, how could Xiaohe obtain so many resources, let alone advance so quickly? After Xiaohe entered the macro world, Zhuowen also turned into a ray of light and disappeared into the macro world. Zhuowen didn't go to Xiaohe's cave residence. He knew that Xiaohe was going to seclude himself to advance. At this moment, he naturally didn't choose to disturb him. He went straight to the center of the macro world, where the small island in the lake was. On the small island, there was a magnificent mansion. Zhuowen's arrival alarmed Ghost Plume and Yin Wuxia in the mansion. "Greetings, master." Ghost Plume and Yin Wuxia hurriedly saluted Zhuowen, their eyes full of respect. This was because they realized that Zhuowen's aura was much stronger than the last time he had entered the macro world. They knew that Zhuowen had become much stronger again. Zhuowen glanced at Ghost Plume again. He realized that Ghost Plume had unknowingly advanced to the creator stage and was now at the mid-stage of the creator stage. Ghost Plume was indeed the #1 prodigy of the 10 Extremes Yin Corpse sect. His talent was indeed much better than that of ordinary cultivators. "How is the Holy Maiden of the Phoenix people?" Zhuowen asked. "Master, everything is normal. The Holy Maiden of the Phoenix people has been under house arrest in the mansion. Recently, she has been much quieter." Yin Wuxia said respectfully. "All right, bring me there." Zhuowen said. The main reason he had come to the macro world to meet the Holy Maiden of the Phoenix people was to find out the exact location of Mu Qinshue's imprisonment. Since Saiku could imitate the aura of the Phoenix people and blend into the Phoenix people, he only needed to know the exact location of Mu Qinshue's imprisonment. When the time came, he would just ask Saiku to bring the macro world to Mu Qinshue's location. Then, he would immediately take action and rescue Mu Qinshu. In the depths of the mansion, Yin Wuxia opened the door to the innermost room. Zhuowen entered the room and saw the Holy Maiden of the Phoenix people kneeling on a futon. She was wearing a fiery red dress. In front of the futon was a coffee table. At this moment, the Holy Maiden of the Phoenix people was facing Zhuowen. She gracefully filled 2 teacups on the coffee table with tea. "You knew I would come to find you." Zhuowen raised his eyebrows and sat opposite the Holy Maiden of the Phoenix people. The Holy Maiden of the Phoenix people looked coldly at Zhuowen and said, "Since you came to find me, you must have arrived at Phoenix Blood City, right? You want to ask about the location of Mu Qinshue's imprisonment, right? Since you've already guessed my intentions, then tell me honestly. I don't like to use force." Zhuowen said lazily. "What's the harm in telling you?" The Holy Maiden of the Phoenix people sneered and continued, "Mu Qinshu is imprisoned in the Phoenix Purgatory. You probably don't know what kind of place the Phoenix Purgatory is, right? The Phoenix's resentment is imprisoned in the Purgatory. All living things that enter the Phoenix Purgatory will be tortured to death. After they die, they will be resurrected by the resentment of the Phoenix. They will continue to be tortured until they die. The cycle will repeat, and the pain will be unbearable." When the Holy Maiden of the Phoenix people said this, her expression was ferocious and her beautiful eyes were filled with madness. Slap! Zhuowen slapped the Holy Maiden of the Phoenix people to the ground. The murderous intent in his eyes seemed to have materialized and filled the entire room. The Holy Maiden of the Phoenix people spat out a mouthful of blood. She looked up at Zhuowen with hatred and said, "Zhuowen, no one can break into the Phoenix Purgatory. Even if you enter, you won't be able to come out. You only have one choice now, and that is to return me to the Phoenix people and beg for mercy. Maybe my heart will soften, and I will release Mu Chinchua and return her to you." Zhuowen stood up and looked coldly at the holy maiden of the Phoenix people. He said, "If it weren't for the fact that you still have some use, you would be a corpse by now." After he finished speaking, Zhuowen turned and left. The holy maiden of the Phoenix people screamed hysterically behind him. Chapter 32:28. Mooring and Yuanfu 3 days later. The door to the heaven-titled private room on the 3rd floor of the Bloodshed Tea House opened. Yu Lu and Saiku, the two people who had been waiting for a long time outside the door, both revealed excited looks. Saiku's gaze was even filled with anticipation and fervor. He knew that Zhuowen exiting seclusion definitely successfully refined the divine pill that could resolve the hidden dangers in his body. Zhuowen threw a jade bottle to Saiku and said, "There are 12 7-transformation curse pills inside. You consume one every 7 days. After 84 days, the curse power in your body will more or less recover. After this bottle of 7 transformation curse pills is consumed, I'll give you another bottle until the curse power in your body is completely purged." Saiku received the jade bottle and was wild with joy. He poured out a 7-transformation curse pill without hesitation and directly swallowed it. When the medicinal pill entered his stomach, he only felt his entire body warm up. Immediately, he discovered that the curse power that had always been wreaking havoc in his body seemed to be suppressed in some way at this moment. It was actually not like normal, wantonly wreaking havoc in his body. And his pain also eased a lot at this moment. He knew that the instant he consumed the 7-transformation curse pill, the curse power in his body was resolved a little. "Many thanks, Lord Chua." Saiku's eyes were full of excitement, involuntarily kneeling on the ground. He was tormented by the curse power for so many years. God knows how many times he wanted to commit suicide, but now the 7-transformation curse pill that Zhuowen gave him the dawn of hope. That kind of joy was no less than regaining a new life. Zhuowen helped Saiku up and said with a faint smile, "Brother Saiku, you don't owe me anything. I helped you resolve the hidden dangers in your body in order to help myself too." Saiku calmed down. He stood up, cupped his fists, and said solemnly, "I, Saiku, will remember this kindness. If Lord Chua has any instructions in the future, I, Saiku, will definitely help Lord Chua do it, even if I have to go through water and tread on fire." "Oh, right, Brother Saiku, previously you said that the Fire Elephant Clan's young patriarch, Mooring, is in Phoenix Blood City right now? I wonder if you know the exact location of that mooring right now?" Zhuowen suddenly asked. Saiku glanced at Zhuowen and hesitated. He already knew that Zhuowen's main objective for asking about the Fire Elephant Clan and the Sacred Marten Clan was the Ho-E Divine Arrow. Since the Fire Elephant Clan's Ho-E Divine Arrow was on the mooring, this youth was probably planning to snatch it. Zhuowen looked at Saiku calmly and did not rush him. He wanted to see Saiku's attitude. If Saiku was truly grateful, he would naturally tell him where the moorings were. But if Saiku hesitated and didn't say anything, he would completely sentence Mooring to death in his heart. In the future, even if Saiku begged him, he wouldn't take out the 7-transformation curse pill. And just in case, Zhuowen gave Saiku the 7-transformation curse pill, which was only a semi-finished product. The real 7-transformation curse pill only needed one to completely solve the hidden dangers in Saiku's body. Zhuowen originally didn't trust Saiku. Naturally, it was impossible to give the finished 7-transformation curse pill to Saiku from the beginning. If Zhuowen was satisfied with Saiku's performance, Zhuowen didn't mind giving the complete 7-transformation curse pill to Saiku and perfectly solve the hidden dangers in his body. Lord Jua, Mooring is actually in the Green Blood Tea House. It's just that he's rich and imposing and lives on the 10th floor of the Green Blood Tea House. And the Sacred Martin clan's prodigy, Uefu, also lives on the 10th floor of the Green Blood Tea House. Mooring is only staying there because of Uefu, Saiku said solemnly. Oh, he lives in the Green Blood Tea House. Zhuowen narrowed his eyes and said to Yulu, Brother Yulu, tell the person in charge of the Green Blood Tea House that we plan to book a private room on the 10th floor. Sir, if you want to book a private room, you don't need to find the person in charge of the tea house. Just find me. I can book the private room you need. A crisp and charming voice sounded. At the end of the corridor outside the private room, Humei, who was wearing an enchanting qipao, walked over leisurely. So it's Miss Humei. Since Miss Humei can book a private room, I'll leave it to you. I need a room on the 10th floor, but I have a request. My room must be close to Uefu, Zhuowen said. Humei's beautiful eyes were filled with surprise. She glanced at Zhuowen and said with a charming smile, I didn't expect you to be one of Miss Uefu's suitors. You're in luck. In Miss Uefu's room, there just happens to be an injured suitor who has just checked out. If you really want it, I can arrange it for you immediately. Then I'll have to trouble Miss Humei. Zhuowen cupped his hands. Humei moved very quickly and returned in about half an incense stick's time. She was holding a jade token with the worded written on it. It should be the room D on the 10th floor of the Green Blood Tea House. Sir, this is the room card for the 10th floor D room of the Green Blood Tea House. But before that, you need to pay a deposit of 3 million Heavenly Law origin crystals. But sir, you don't have to worry. When you check out, we'll refund you more or make up the difference. We won't tamper with the deposit, Humei said with a smile. Miss Humei, do you really believe that I can take out so much deposit at once? Zhuowen looked at Humei in surprise. The latter had already prepared the room card without even asking him about the deposit. If he couldn't take out so much deposit, wouldn't it be very awkward? The first time I met Sir, I knew that Sir was not an ordinary person. 3 million Heavenly Law origin crystals should be something you can take out, Humei said with a charming smile. The corners of Zhuowen's mouth curled up slightly. He nodded at Humei and handed a storage bag to her, saying, There are 3 million Heavenly Law origin crystals in here. Check it. Humei checked it and smiled. She handed the room card to Zhuowen and stuck out her tongue playfully, saying, Sir, I really didn't misjudge you. By the way, may I know your name? Humei suddenly asked. Zhuowen was startled, then smiled and said, My name is Zhuowen. You can call me by my name next time. Thank you. Then I'll take my leave first. Have a pleasant stay. Humei left the corridor with happy footsteps. Let's go. Let's go to the 10th floor to take a look. As Zhuowen spoke, he led Yulu and Saiku upstairs and soon arrived at the 10th floor. The decor of the 10th floor was much more luxurious than the 3rd floor. The Heavenly Law energy here also far exceeded the outside world. This was clearly a very suitable place for cultivation. Zhuowen found the D room. Just as he was about to open the door of the room next door opened first. Then a beautiful foreign race woman walked out. This foreign race woman was extremely beautiful. Her appearance was similar to a human's, and she wore a black and white mink coat. She was full of nobility and elegance from head to toe. The most eye-catching thing was the black and white tail that grew out of the woman's back, which added a cute charm to her. The foreign race woman only glanced at Zhuowen and the other two before leaving. Lord Jua, she is the Sacred Martin race's Uefu, Saika said softly. As soon as Saika said that, the door of the B room not far away opened, and a burly foreign race youth walked out. Uefu, wait for me. Where are you going? The foreign race youth was very loud, his voice as loud as a drum. Uefu glanced coldly at the foreign race youth. Her footsteps did not stop at all as she replied coldly, Mao, Bo, don't follow me. I'm just going out for a walk. It's none of your business. Chapter 32:29. Sky-devouring Rachwa when stood at the door and watched as Uefu and more left. He did not follow them. Instead, he secretly used the torch dragon eye and discovered several powerful figures hiding in the shadows on the 10th floor of the Green Blood Tea House. These hidden figures were all experts above the Master of Creation realm, and he could even sense an extremely powerful aura. He knew that the owner of this aura should be a supreme expert above the early master of Heaven Conduit realm. It seems that the fire elephant race values Mooring very much. They actually sent so many experts to secretly protect her. Zhuowen muttered to himself. Yu Lu and Saiku, who were beside Zhuowen, were extremely nervous. When they saw that Zhuowen didn't make a move, they let out a sigh of relief. Phoenix Blood City had a rule that private fights were not allowed. The Green Blood Tea House's rules were even stricter. Once a private fight was discovered, they would immediately be held accountable. Then, the entire Green Blood Tea House's experts would make a move. Those who broke the rules would definitely be in big trouble. Lord Jua, you must not be impulsive. The Green Blood Tea House has a heaven-piercing master overseeing it. Moreover, the 3 commanders of the Phoenix Blood City's enforcement team are also heaven-piercing masters. If you make a move in the Green Blood Tea House, not only will the Green Blood Tea House's experts make a move, but the enforcement team will also appear to encircle and suppress you. Even if you have 3 heads and 6 arms, I'm afraid you won't be a match for them. Saiku's eyes were filled with worry as he hurriedly advised Zhuowen. Then, is there any way for me to fight with others without being punished? Zhuowen asked. There is. In Phoenix Blood City, there's a stage called the Blood Weeping Arena. This stage is a place for cultivators with grudges in Phoenix Blood City to fight to the death. If there's a huge conflict between 2 parties because of some matter, then they can settle it at the Blood Weeping Arena. Once they enter the Blood Weeping Arena, their life and death will be up to the heavens. Saiku continued. However, if you want to fight to the death on the Blood Weeping Arena, both parties must agree. Otherwise, it won't be valid. Zhuowen's eyes flashed. He didn't expect Phoenix Blood City to have such a place. Go, Saiku, bring me to the Weeping Blood platform to take a look. Also, Brother Yulu, help me track Mooring. Zhuowen said indifferently. Yulu nodded and directly left the Bloodshed Tea House. Ever since Zhuowen had displayed all sorts of powerful abilities, Yulu's admiration for Zhuowen had reached a point of no return. He had always obeyed Zhuowen's orders. After Yulu left, Saiku led Zhuowen toward the Blood Weeping platform. The Weeping Blood platform wasn't far from the Green Blood Tea House. It was located northeast of the Green Blood Tea House, about 15 minutes away. The Blood Weeping Arena was 6 meters tall. The arena was carved out of blood-colored jade. From afar, it looked like a stone dyed red with blood. At this moment, many foreign races had gathered around the blood-weeping platform. Their gazes were all focused on the blood-weeping platform. Zhuowen followed everyone's gazes and landed on the blood-weeping platform. He saw a tall and sturdy figure standing on the platform. It was a foreign race youth. His skin had a metallic luster, and he was 3 meters tall. Zhuowen wasn't unfamiliar with this foreign race youth. He was the Fire Elephant Clan's young patriarch, Mooring, whom he had just met in the Green Blood Tea House. Not far from the blood-weeping platform, the Sacred Marten Clan's proud daughter of heaven, Uefu, had her arms crossed in front of her chest. Her beautiful eyes were coldly looking at Mooring on the blood-weeping platform. Zhuowen saw Yu Lu, who was silently observing the situation from the periphery of the crowd. Zhuowen walked over to greet Yu Lu and asked, "Yu Lu, what's going on? Why is mooring on the blood-weeping platform?" Yu Lu smiled bitterly and said, "I just went out to track mooring when I discovered one of Yuefu's suitors blocking the entrance of the Green Blood Tea House. They were arguing with mooring. Mooring and that suitor were arguing very fiercely. In the end, the two of them couldn't take it anymore and proposed to settle their grudge at the blood-weeping platform." Zhuowen nodded. "So that's how it was." He then saw a thin figure slowly walk up from the blood-weeping platform. This foreign race youth was also very young, but he had shifty eyes and black fur on his face. His sharp nose made him look a little like a rat. That's the heaven-devouring rat clan's genius, Rui Luan. It's said that he just came out of seclusion and has already advanced to the early-stage Lord of Creation realm. Rui Luan has always been Yuefu's crazy suitor. In the past, he wasn't very strong, so he didn't show it very clearly. Instead, he cultivated in seclusion like crazy. Now that Rui Luan has broken through to the Lord of Creation realm, his ambitions are higher than the heavens. Naturally, he's unhappy to see the Fire Elephant clan's young patriarch pestering Yuefu. It's expected that the two of them will settle their grudge at the blood-weeping platform. Saiku said softly to Zhuowen, "The heaven-devouring rat clan is the same as the Fire Elephant clan. They're both vassal tribes of the Phoenix people. Moreover, the difference in strength between the two clans isn't great. Moreover, they've fought over territory in the past, so their grudge is deep." Yu Lu interrupted. "Mooring's cultivation is lower than Rui Luan's, right? He actually agreed to this death match?" Zhuowen said with some surprise. "That's not necessarily true. In terms of talent, the Fire Elephant clan's talent is even more terrifying than the heaven-devouring rat clan's. Mooring might not be Rui Luan's match, but it won't be that easy for Rui Luan to kill Mooring," Saiku said. Zhuowen shook his head, speechless. Whether it was Rui Luan or Mooring, they were both monstrous geniuses of their respective clans. Now, they were actually fighting to the death over a woman. He glanced at Yuefu below the blood-weeping platform. Her eyes were cold and emotionless. He knew that Yuefu didn't have any feelings for Rui Luan or Mooring. As far as she was concerned, Rui Luan and Mooring fighting over her was just a show. Miss, the Fire Elephant clan and the heaven-devouring rat clan aren't simple. If something happens to both of them, will the two clans have a problem with our Sacred Marten clan? The servant girl by Yuefu's side looked at Mooring and Rui Luan, who were facing each other from afar, with a trace of worry in her beautiful eyes. Yuefu smiled lightly, and her smile was filled with mockery. She said, "Don't worry, Xiaoli. Even if both of them die on the blood-weeping platform, the Fire Elephant clan and the heaven-devouring rat clan won't look for trouble with our Sacred Marten clan. They might even obediently come and apologize to our Sacred Marten clan." The servant girl was puzzled. Although the Sacred Marten clan was very powerful, it was at most on par with the Fire Elephant clan and the heaven-devouring rat clan. If something happened to Mooring and Rui Luan, why would the two clans take the initiative to apologize to the Sacred Marten clan? Yuefu's beautiful eyes revealed a proud expression, and she said softly, "Because my heart already belongs to someone, and you're no stranger to this person. He's the current #1 genius of the Phoenix people, Feng Bumming." "It's actually Feng Bumming." The servant girl revealed a shocked expression. Among the younger generation of the entire Eldritch Heaven region, Feng Bumming definitely had a thunderous reputation. In the past, the most famous junior geniuses of the Phoenix people were the Phoenix people's Saintess and Feng Bumming. Both of them were known as the Phoenix people's golden couple. The reason why the Phoenix People's Saintess was so famous was not because of how terrifying her cultivation was, but because she possessed the rare 9-9 Phoenix body bloodline of the Phoenix people. This bloodline was simply too terrifying. If she could mature, she would definitely become an unparalleled expert. Fong Bumming was different. His bloodline could only be considered above average, but his talent was a rare freak among the Phoenix people. His cultivation speed was terrifyingly fast. In just a short 1,000 years, he had stepped into the third step of Tao validation. Chapter 3230. Fong Bumming was a true god's favored son. Compared to Fong Bumming, Mobo and Rueluan were like clouds and mud. There was no comparison at all. Auspicious Luan and Mooring were at most famous in their own clans and the area around Phoenix Blood City. They were just ordinary people in the entire primitive heaven domain. The servant girl's beautiful eyes were filled with excitement. She knew very well that if Miss could really hook up with Fong Bumming, the entire Sacred Martin clan would rise because of Mississippi. This servant congratulates Miss. Compared to Lord Fong Bumming, Mooring and Auspicious Luan are nothing. Our Sacred Martin clan will also have the support of the Phoenix people. The Fire Elephant clan and Heaven-devouring Rat clan won't be in our eyes at that time. The servant girl said, excitedly. Uefu lifted her chin slightly, and the arrogance in her beautiful eyes became even more intense. She said indifferently, "This is a secret. You can't spread it. Otherwise, you know the consequences." Hearing this, the servant girl's delicate body trembled. She knew very well what consequences Uefu was talking about. She hurriedly promised that she would definitely not speak of this matter. Speaking of which, Auspicious Luan and Mooring are really stupid. Until now, they still foolishly went to the blood-weeping platform for Mississippi. Little did they know that your heart already belongs to someone. The servant girl chuckled. Hee, they're just two guys who are wagging their tails and begging for pity. Do they really think I'll like them? Uefu shook her head and mocked. Miss, I'm curious. Who will win this death match between the two of them? Mooring's cultivation is even lower than Auspicious Luan's. I think Mooring will lose. The servant girl suddenly asked curiously. After knowing that Uefu's mysterious partner was Fong Bumming, the servant girl was completely not worried about the consequences of Mooring and Auspicious Luan being injured in the battle. Mooring is not simple. The outcome of this death match is not certain. They've started now. We'll know when we watch. Uefu said. As soon as Uefu finished speaking, everyone below the platform realized that Mooring and Auspicious Luan had already started fighting. Mooring's entire body emitted violent flames. The terrifying flames swept out and formed a huge, flaming elephant behind him. Rueluan's entire body was covered with spiraling chi. These chi swept out and formed a gigantic, heaven-swallowing rat behind him. Mooring, you haven't even broken through to the creator realm, yet you dare to challenge me and challenge me to the blood-weeping arena? I really don't know where your courage comes from. But don't worry, I won't let you die a painful death. I'll kill you in one strike and let you die a quick death. Rueluan's voice was sharp, like the shriek of some kind of rat. He stomped his right foot, and a terrifying, devouring chi burst out, overflowing in all directions. With a terrifying aura, Rueluan shot toward the Mooring like an arrow. He didn't hold back at all as he unleashed the aura of the Creator. After everyone below the stage felt the terrifying aura of Lucky Luan, their gazes all revealed expressions of fear. As expected of Rueluan from the heaven-devouring rat clan, after becoming a lord of creation, his aura is even stronger than an ordinary early-stage lord of creation. It looks like Mooring is in danger. There was a lot of discussion below the stage. None of them were very optimistic about the Mooring. Mooring snorted coldly and also took a step forward. Blazing flames swept out, flying toward Rue Luen. He actually planned on clashing head-on with Rue Luen. "Moring, you're courting death." Rue Luen laughed wildly. His right hand suddenly struck out, and the incomparably enormous, heaven-devouring rat image behind him fell toward Moring like a mountain. However, the enormous fire elephant behind Moring wasn't afraid at all. It fiercely collided with the heaven-devouring rat image, and a terrifying shockwave dispersed with a boom. However, when these shockwaves landed on the edge of the blood-weeping arena, they were blocked by an energy barrier, preventing the shockwaves from spreading out and causing harm to the spectators. Clearly, a powerful barrier had been set up around the blood-weeping arena to filter out the shockwaves of the battle. Bang! Moring snorted and retreated repeatedly, all the way to the edge of the arena. Rue Luen's figure merely swayed before he stabilized himself again. Everyone could see the difference between the two with a single glance. Moring was much weaker than Rue Luen. "Moring, how dare you steal my woman with such little strength? You're really courting death." Rue Luen's gaze was like lightning. He stomped his right foot, and a terrifying shockwave exploded under his feet. He flew toward Moring like a rock, spreading its wings. Moring's expression changed slightly. He clenched his right fist, and a blood-colored divine arrow had appeared in his right hand at some unknown time. Moring spat a mouthful of blood onto the divine blood-colored arrow. At the same time, the energy within his body frantically poured into the divine blood-colored arrow. Instantly, a terrifying killing intent erupted from the divine blood-colored arrow, exploding like a wave. Rue Luen's expression changed slightly. The killing intent on the divine blood-colored arrow was too terrifying. Even he felt his heart palpitate. Rue Luen, die. Moring's eyes were filled with madness. He suddenly slapped the end of the divine blood-colored arrow. Immediately, the crazy killing intent contained within the divine arrow exploded with a boom. Whoosh! The divine blood-colored arrow was extremely fast. It turned into a streak of bloody light that streaked across the air, carrying with it a terrifying killing intent. Rue Luen crazily shouted. He exploded with all his energy and fiercely blasted the divine blood-colored arrow. At this moment, Rue Luen's heart was filled with bitterness. He originally wanted to dodge the divine blood-colored arrow, but it was too fast. Moreover, he was too close to Moring, so he had no time to dodge. The only thing he could do now was to use all his strength to block the divine blood-colored arrow. Bang! The divine blood-colored arrow was too terrifying. The moment it came into contact with Rue Luen, the sky-devouring rat phantom behind him was directly torn apart. Then, the divine blood-colored arrow shot toward Rue Luen like lightning. Rue Luen's eyes were filled with terror. He realized that no matter how he struggled, the divine blood-colored arrow pressed forward, crushing all his struggles into powder and fragments. In the end, the divine blood-colored arrow pierced his chest. A terrifying killing intent engulfed his entire body, frantically crushing his internal organs. "Pucci!" Rue Luen screamed loudly, and directly shattered into countless pieces of blood. A dim light flashed out from the countless pieces of blood. Upon closer inspection, this dim light looked like Rue Luen, but it was only the size of a palm. This was Rue Luen's soul. At this moment, Rue Luen's soul was panicking. It turned into a dim light, wanting to leave the blood-weeping arena and escape. Unfortunately, Moring was prepared. The moment Rue Luen's soul appeared, he had already rushed to the edge of the blood-weeping arena and intercepted it. "Moring, I admit defeat. As long as you let me go, I'll agree to anything you want." Rue Luen's face was deathly pale as he hurriedly begged for mercy. "Moring, this is the blood-weeping arena. We're having a death match. If you don't die, how can I be considered to have won? Chapter 32-31. The admirer the Weeping Blood Arena was completely silent. No one had expected that Rueluan, who should have had the absolute upper hand, would be killed on the Weeping Blood Arena without a complete corpse. All of this happened in the blink of an eye. Before anyone could react, the tide of the battle had been turned. Below the arena, Uefu's beautiful eyes revealed a look of surprise. She naturally recognized the blood arrow that Moring had used. Wasn't it Ho-Yi's godly arrow? Their sacred Marten clan also had a Ho-Yi's godly arrow, but it had always been kept in the clan's forbidden area by the patriarch. Although Uefu also knew that the Fire Elephant clan also had a Ho-Yi's godly arrow, she didn't expect it to be with Moring. The Fire Elephant clan's patriarch doted on Moring too much. He was actually willing to give such a precious treasure to Moring. Zhuowen, who was in the crowd, couldn't help but narrow his eyes, revealing a trace of imperceptible joy. It seemed that Saiku hadn't lied to him. The Fire Elephant clan's Ho-Yi's godly arrow was really in Moring's hands. Zhuowen saw Moring put away the Ho-Yi's godly arrow and excitedly walked towards Uefu below the arena. After thinking for a moment, he lifted his foot and walked towards Uefu. Saiku and Yulu looked at Zhuowen with puzzled eyes. However, when they saw Zhuowen walking straight towards Uefu, they were both shocked. They wanted to stop him, but unfortunately, Zhuowen was too fast and had already arrived in front of Uefu. "Who are you?" Uefu couldn't help but frown when she saw Zhuowen suddenly appear in front of her. In Zhuowen's eyes, she saw crazy adoration and a trace of possessiveness that made her unhappy. She had seen this kind of gaze too many times. Among her many suitors, most of them looked at her with this kind of gaze. Even Moring was no exception. Although she didn't reject suitors, this young man who suddenly appeared in front of her and had a somewhat presumptuous gaze made Uefu very uncomfortable. "Miss Uefu, you may not know me, but I've admired you for a long time. Your appearance has always been in my heart. I really like you too much. I obtained this Tai Chi energy gathering divine pill by chance. I can see that you've already reached the pinnacle of the God of Creation stage, so this Tai Chi energy gathering divine pill is just right for you. You must accept it." Zhuowen took out a Tai Chi energy gathering divine pill and placed it in front of Uefu. He had long seen that Uefu's cultivation had reached a bottleneck, and there was no way she could refuse this Tai Chi spirit gathering pill. Zhuowen's words had caused Uefu's face to darken, but now her beautiful eyes lit up as she smiled and accepted the Tai Chi spirit gathering divine pill from Zhuowen. "You're really considerate. This Tai Chi energy gathering divine pill is indeed useful to me. I wonder if you have any more on you?" Yuan Fu smiled. In Janelf's eyes, Zhuowen had already been labeled as a rich and overbearing suitor. In the void heavenly realm, divine pills were even rarer and more precious than in the Xianmi heavenly realm. This was because the void heavenly realm's god formation masters and pill masters were far inferior to the Xianmi heavenly realm in terms of both quantity and quality. As a result, the void heavenly realm's divine pills and formations were far more valuable than the Xianmi heavenly realms. Although the Tai Chi energy gathering divine pill was precious, in the Xianmi heavenly realm, Dao Palace level forces would normally have a stockpile of this level of divine pills. However, in the void heavenly realm, only super forces like the 10 great tribes would have divine pills above the creation level. If other races wanted such divine pills, they would have to go to the 10 great tribes to trade for them. Moreover, it was the kind of divine pills that were priceless. After Yuefu had reached the pinnacle of the God of Creation stage, the leader of the sacred Marten race had gone to the Phoenix people to trade for creation-level divine pills similar to this Tai Chi energy gathering divine pill to help Yuefu break through her bottleneck. Unfortunately, the price the Phoenix people offered was simply too high. The leader of the sacred Marten race had been weighing the price, so he hadn't come to an agreement yet. Now, however, a random suitor she had met was giving her such a precious divine pill right off the bat. How could she not be pleasantly surprised? To her, this was definitely the best present she had ever received. What Yuefu was hoping for now was that this suitor had more Tai Chi energy gathering divine pills on him. After all, one Tai Chi energy gathering divine pill might not guarantee her 100% success rate. If he had a few more, then it would be much safer. Zhuowen sneered in his heart, but a flattered smile appeared on his face. I do. I have a total of 3. I haven't consumed any of them yet. However, if Miss Yuefu can give me a hug, then I'll give you the other 2 Tai Chi energy gathering divine pills. Yuefu's expression stiffened. She was furious that this suitor didn't know what was good for him. How dare he make such a request? He could have just given her the other 2 Tai Chi energy gathering divine pills. However, Yuefu truly desired the Tai Chi energy gathering divine pills too much. This was the key to her breakthrough. Thinking of this, Yuefu took the initiative to hug Zhuowen. Zhuowen didn't hug Yuefu back. He didn't have any feelings for this woman. The reason he made such a request was naturally to anger Mooring, who had already come down from the Weeping Blood platform. At this moment, Mooring had already walked down the platform. He was about to show off in front of Yuefu when he saw Yuefu taking the initiative to hug an unfamiliar youth. He was instantly enraged. Son of a bitch! Take your filthy hands off me! Moose angrily rushed over and threw Zhuowen to the side. At the same time, Yuefu also let go of Zhuowen. Son of a bitch! How dare you touch Yuefu? I'll kill you today! Mooring was so angry that he lost his mind. The killing intent in his eyes exploded without any concealment as he strode towards Zhuowen. However, Genel stopped the Mooring. Mooring, this person is my friend. You'd better not touch him. As she spoke, she helped Zhuowen up from the ground and said softly, Are you all right? Right. Where are the 2 Tai Chi energy gathering divine pills you mentioned? Can you give them to me now? Zhuowen sneered in his heart. This Yuefu was really practical. She didn't even say a word of concern and directly asked for the Tai Chi energy gathering divine pills. Hee. Miss Yuefu being able to hug me is a blessing that I've cultivated for 3 lifetimes. From now on, you're Zhuowen's woman. This Tai Chi energy gathering divine pill is my gift to you as a token of love. Zhuowen took out 2 Tai Chi energy gathering divine pills, held Yuefu's hand, and handed the pills to her. Yuefu was stunned, and the surrounding people were in an uproar. Previously, Zhuowen and Yuefu's conversation wasn't loud, and the surrounding foreign races didn't hear what the 2 were talking about. They only saw Zhuowen handing the Tai Chi energy gathering divine pills to Yuefu. But now, Zhuowen's voice was loud and clear, saying that Yuefu was his woman and that the Tai Chi energy gathering divine pills were a token of love. At first, the crowd didn't believe it, but Yuefu really did accept the Tai Chi energy gathering divine pills. This caused a commotion among the foreign races. Yuefu put away the Tai Chi energy gathering divine pills and quickly pulled away from Zhuowen. Her beautiful eyes stared coldly at Zhuowen, who said, I'm your woman. I'm just taking back the Tai Chi energy gathering divine pills that belong to me. Chapter 32. Mooring has lost his mind. As soon as Yuefu's words came out, the commotion in the surroundings quieted down significantly, and the foreign race spectators all revealed looks of relief. Only then did Mooring's expression soften a little. He walked over to Uefu's side and pointed at Zhuowen. "Despicable and shameless fellow, you stole Uefu's divine pills and even tried to pass them off as your own. You even shamelessly said that Uefu is your woman. How disgusting. Mooring, want to challenge you now. Do you dare to fight me on the Weeping Blood arena? If you don't, then that means you're a coward who doesn't deserve to pursue Uefu." Zhuowen looked coldly at Mooring. He could see a hint of greed in Mooring's eyes. He knew very well that it wasn't that Mooring didn't understand what had just happened. He also knew that the Tai Chi energy gathering divine pills belonged to him, Zhuowen. But now, Mooring had denied everything and wanted to challenge him. This guy was probably after his spirit ring. After all, he was already considered a rich and overbearing spendthrift for being able to take out 3 Tai Chi energy gathering divine pills at once. Mooring wanted to challenge him on the Weeping Blood arena. When the time came, he could kill him in one fell swoop and obtain his spirit ring. Uefu also saw Mooring's intentions, and her expression changed slightly. Just as she was about to speak up to stop him, Zhuowen agreed with a cold smile. Uefu was flustered and exasperated. She regretted turning hostile immediately after obtaining the 3 Tai Chi energy gathering divine pills. Since this rich and overbearing spendthrift was her suitor, she could have used her charm to slowly coax the treasures out of him. But she had been too anxious to cut ties with this person just now. Now, Mooring had beaten her to it. She knew very well that if this person went on the Weeping Blood arena, he would undoubtedly die. Mooring would definitely take his spirit ring, and she would have no share in it. "Mooring, what do you mean by this? He's my friend, and you actually want to challenge him," Uefu said angrily. "Erfu, that person insulted you just now. I'm standing up for you now." As Mao Emo spoke, he looked at Zhuowen provocatively and said, "If you don't dare, you don't need to go up to the blood-weeping platform. Kneel before me, crawl under my crotch, and bark like a dog. Then I'll let you go." Uefu sighed in relief. It seemed that the Mooring was still giving her face. As long as she crawled under the Mooring and barked like a dog, it would be fine. "Hurry up and do as the Moorings say. Otherwise, you won't be able to survive on the blood-weeping platform," Uefu said to Zhuowen in a commanding tone. Zhuowen didn't pay any attention to Gen Elf. Instead, he walked up to the Weeping Blood platform and looked down at the petrified Mooring below. "Didn't you say you wanted to fight on the Weeping Blood platform? Why are you in a daze? Or were you just joking just now?" Mooring came back to his senses, and a sinister smile appeared on his face as he quickly stepped onto the blood-weeping platform. Since this foreign youth didn't know what was good for him, it was a good opportunity for him to take care of him and snatch his spirit ring. Since this person could take out 3 Tai Chi spirit-gathering divine pills at once, there had to be other treasures in his spirit ring. He wasn't going to let go of such a good opportunity. Meanwhile, Uefu's beautiful eyes were filled with anxiety. Why wasn't this guy listening to her? Could it be that he didn't see how Mooring had dealt with Rueluan just now? She could see that Zhuowen's aura was only around the God of Creation intermediate stage. The difference between him and Rueluan was like heaven and earth. With his cultivation base, he would be nothing more than cannon fodder. This guy would be courting death if he went up. Meanwhile, the foreign beings around the blood-weeping platform were in an uproar. They didn't think that this foreign youth would actually dare to step onto the blood-weeping platform and battle with Mooring. What was even more inconceivable to them was that this foreign youth's cultivation base seemed to be around the God of Creation intermediate stage. Who was Mooring? He was a terrifying being who had just killed an early-stage Lord of Creation, like Rueluan. A mere God of Creation intermediate stage was probably not even enough to fill the gaps between Mooring's teeth. Hidden amongst the non-human kind, Saiku had a worried look in his eyes. He whispered to Yulu, "Brother Yulu, wouldn't it be inappropriate for Lord Zhuo to go up like this? Mooring has a trump card like Ho Yi's divine arrow." However, Yulu wasn't worried at all. "Brother Saiku, don't worry. Lord Zhuo is much, much more powerful than you think." Saiku was a little skeptical upon seeing Yulu's confidence. He didn't deny that Zhuowen was much more powerful than his cultivation base, but no matter how powerful he was, could he be more powerful than Rueluan? "Uefu, don't worry. What's mine is yours. There's no distinction between us." On the blood-weeping platform, Mooring didn't take Zhuowen seriously at all. He didn't even look at Zhuowen. Instead, he turned around and smiled at Uefu. Uefu's beautiful eyes flashed. She understood Mooring's meaning. If he really killed Zhuowen, he was willing to share the items in his spirit ring with her. Uefu's brows relaxed as she thought of this. "Mooring, you're so annoying. There's no distinction between us. How mushy." Mooring laughed. "Uefu, don't worry. I've always shared good things with you. After I take care of this, Aunt, I'll—" Before Moose could finish his sentence, his right cheek caved in from the impact. A huge fist landed on Moose's cheek. Bam! Mooring was caught off guard and was knocked to the ground. Before he could even react, a figure suddenly appeared in front of him. A foot quickly enlarged in front of his eyes and stomped on his face. Everything happened too quickly. The alien race spectators below the blood-weeping platform were all dumbfounded. Most of their gazes were on Mooring. When they saw that Mooring was talking to Uefu, they thought that the battle hadn't started yet. However, this alien race youth didn't play by the rules. He attacked without saying a word. "Are you done talking? If you are, then get up and fight." Zhuowen stomped on Mooring's face. His voice was calm, but it was filled with authority. Mooring roared in anger. This guy was too despicable. He hadn't even prepared himself, but he had already attacked. However, Mooring soon realized that something was wrong. He used all his strength, but he couldn't break free from this person's foot. How was this possible? This was a mere god of creation. How could he have such powerful earth energy? He was actually able to suppress his entire body. Boom! A terrifyingly huge fire elephant abruptly burst out from the Mooring body. Powerful airwaves swirled in the air like an endless wave. Zhuowen's eyes flashed. He was forced back a few steps by the shock waves. Mooring scrambled to his feet. His right cheek had caved in, making him look like a ferocious ghost. At this moment, Mooring roared in anger. This alien race youth was too despicable. How dare he sneak attack him? "You're good. Today, I want you to die without a burial place. I want you to die a horrible death. This is what you get for angering me." Mooring lost his mind. He immediately retrieved Ho Yi's divine arrow from his spirit ring and began to channel his heavenly Tao energy into it. Terrifying killing intent filled the entire blood-weeping platform. Zhuowen looked at the Ho Yi's divine arrow in Mooring's hand. Die. Chapter 32-33. Tales exposed. A terrifying killing intent swept out. Everyone around the weeping blood platform was shocked. All of the spectating beings didn't think that Mao Mo would use a trump card like Ho Yi's divine arrow against a mid-stage god of creation. Faced with such a terrifying divine arrow, how could the foreign race youth possibly survive? Saiku's expression changed drastically, and he sighed. "It's over. This Ho Yi's divine arrow is too terrifying. Masters will probably won't be able to block it. However, when Saiku saw Yulu beside him, he couldn't help but falter. This was because he didn't see any anxiety on Yulu's face. Wasn't Yulu worried at all? On the blood-weeping platform, the Ho Yi's divine arrow instantly arrived before Zhuowen. It carried boundless killing intent as it continuously pressed down on Zhuowen. Mao Bo laughed arrogantly. He knew that this damned alien youth was about to die to his Ho Yi's divine arrow in the next instant. However, his expression quickly stiffened. This was because he discovered that Zhuowen had actually smashed his fist into the Ho Yi's divine arrow. He had originally thought that this person's fist would definitely be pierced through by the Ho Yi's divine arrow. However, what happened next left him dumbstruck. Zhuowen smashed the Ho Yi's divine arrow to the ground with a single punch. Then, he easily grabbed it in his hand. This person had erased the divine intent he had left on the Ho Yi's divine arrow in front of everyone and very naturally stored it away in his great world. Brother Mao Bo, this divine arrow of yours is quite powerful. Since you want to give it to me, I'll gladly accept it. After putting away the Ho Yi's divine arrow, Zhuowen looked at Mao Bo with a hint of a smile. Mao Bo felt his legs go weak. He knew that he had encountered a tough opponent this time. Not only had the Ho Yi's divine arrow failed to kill this guy, it had been easily blocked by this guy, and he had even taken it for himself. What the hell was wrong with this guy? How could a mere god of creation have the ability to block a Ho Yi's divine arrow with his bare hands? Even the Lord of creation couldn't do this. Who the hell are you? Do you know that divine arrow is a precious treasure of our fire elephant race? Now, you still have a chance. Obediently hand over the Ho Yi divine arrow to us, and our fire elephant race will not make things difficult for you. Mao Bo said solemnly. Zhuowen looked at the mooring in front of him as though he was looking at an idiot. Hee, Brother Mobo, you might not have figured out your current situation, right? You and I are fighting on the Weeping Blood Arena. This is a battle of life and death. Since they had stepped onto the blood-weeping platform, they naturally needed to determine life and death. Either you die, or I die. Zhuowen's voice was calm, but it was filled with terrifying killing intent. Seems like you really want to offend our Fire Elephant clan. You have to be clear about the price of offending our Fire Elephant clan. Mooring said as he retreated, all the muscles in his body tensed up. Bang! When Mao Mo finished speaking, his feet exploded with an ear-piercing sound. He turned into a streak of fiery light and shot into the distance. Unfortunately, Zhuowen was faster than Mao Mo. The instant Mao Mo fled, Zhuowen had already attacked. He blocked in front of Mao Mo and smashed a fist into Mao Mo's chest. He only used 50% of his strength in this punch, but it still caused Mao Mo to vomit blood violently. He screamed and smashed into the blood-weeping platform. His bones were shattered, and he remained motionless. Below the platform, the gazes of many foreign races landed on Mao Mo, seeing that he was already exhaling more than he was inhaling. They knew that Mao Mo would not live for long. You can't kill me. My father is the Fire Elephant race's patriarch. Liang Su, if you kill me, the entire Fire Elephant race will kill you. Mao Mo's eyes were filled with panic. He could already smell the scent of death. As he spat out blood, he spat out those words with difficulty. Even if you were the son of the Heavenly King, I would still kill you on the blood-weeping platform, let alone the son of the Fire Elephant race's patriarch. Zhuowen sneered and slowly landed on the platform. However, when he walked towards Mao Mo, several figures darted out of the void. Waves of fiery aura exploded. Within the fiery aura, there were many huge fire elephant phantoms. Bang! 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 In an instant, 5 figures descended on the blood-weeping platform and stood in front of Mao Mo to protect him. They looked coldly at Zhuowen. The 5 figures exuded a fiery aura. Behind them were 5 huge fire elephant phantoms that looked even more majestic. They were 5 experts from the fire elephant race. Zhuan was not surprised by their appearance. When he first met Mao Mo, he used the torch dragon's eye to secretly observe the surroundings. He knew that Mao Mo was protected by experts from the fire elephant race. One of the experts from the fire elephant race hurriedly helped Mao Mo up and took out a divine pill for him to consume. Mao Mo, who was on the verge of death, looked much better after consuming the divine pill. "Young master, are you feeling better?" The middle-aged man with the strongest aura among the five hurriedly came to Mao Mo's side and anxiously checked his body. He only relaxed when he found that Mao Mo was fine. "Uncle Pooh, you have to help me kill this person. Otherwise, I won't be able to vent my anger." Mao Mo's voice was hoarse as he looked at Zhuan with resentment. "Don't worry, young master. This person will definitely die. The enforcement team will be here soon. I've already informed them about the situation here. It's completely reasonable for us to take action," the middle-aged man said softly. Zhuan looked at the five experts from the fire elephant race silently. The middle-aged man supporting Mao Mo had the strongest cultivation. He should be a peak lord of creation. The other four were all late-stage lords of creation. "You should be experts from the fire elephant race, right? Mao Mo and I are having a life-and-death battle on the blood-weeping platform. What do you mean by interfering? Don't you care about the rules of Phoenix Blood City at all?" Zhuan said coldly. Kip handed the mooring over to his subordinates and stood up. He coldly looked at Zhuan and said, "We all know the rules, and the one who didn't follow the rules is you. The enforcement team will be here soon, and as the rule breaker, you will be cleaned up immediately." As soon as he finished speaking, a commotion arose from the crowd below the platform. Afterwards, an enforcement team emerged from the crowd. The leader of the enforcement team was no stranger to Zhuan. It was Xiu, who had appeared at the entrance of the Immortal Treasure Pavilion last time. Xiu was slightly weaker than Wu Pu. He was a late-stage Lord of Creation. However, he was one of the leaders of the enforcement team after all. He had a noble status, so Wu Pu had to be respectful to him. "What's going on?" It's actually you." As soon as Xiu arrived, he asked with an unfriendly expression. However, in the instant his gaze fell upon Zhuan, he immediately let out a soft cry of surprise. Although Zhuan had changed his appearance slightly, it wasn't much. Xiu could tell at a glance that the Zhuan in front of him was 70% similar to the person he was looking for. He was certain that this person was the one who had destroyed the Immortal Treasure Pavilion. Zhuan's gaze was gloomy. He hadn't expected to be noticed by the enforcement team. It seemed that it would be rather difficult for him to escape now. "Brother Xiu, in order to defeat my young master, this person used all sorts of despicable methods and heavily injured my young master. I trust that Brother Xiu definitely won't sit idly by and do nothing, right?" Wu Pu clasped his hands towards Xiu, who had just arrived. Xiu inwardly cursed Wu Pu, but he had to give him face. After all, Wu Pu's cultivation was higher than his, and his status within the fire elephant race was very high as well. He naturally wouldn't be so foolish as to offend someone like this. Chapter 32-34. Slaughter. Two enforcers leaped onto the blood-weeping platform and grabbed at Zhuan. Unfortunately, the moment the two enforcers approached Zhuan, they were sent flying by his powerful aura. Zhuan looked coldly at the shocked Xiu below the platform and said, "This is a grudge between me and the Fire Elephant clan." Moreover, it was the Fire Elephant clan's mooring who suggested the battle on the blood-weeping platform. Now, it's the mooring who violated the rules and interfered in our life-and-death battle. And you, Xiu, as one of the leaders of the enforcers, want to capture me without distinguishing between right and wrong. Isn't that a bit too much? Zhuowen's voice was loud and clear, causing many foreign races below the platform to discuss spiritedly. Many of the foreign races secretly agreed with Zhuowen's words. They had stayed in Phoenix Blood City for much longer than Zhuowen, so they naturally knew that the enforcers were cowards. However, no one would speak up for Zhuowen. They all knew very well that there was only one outcome for offending enforcers, and that was to be locked up in the dungeon by enforcers and never see the light of day again. It's over. Lord Zhuo even provoked the enforcers, the Fire Elephant clan, and the enforcers are not to be trifled with. Saika's expression changed slightly. He was anxious and wanted to retreat. Lu frowned slightly. He also did not expect that things would actually turn out like this. Lu, Saiku, return to the bloodshed tea house first. I will come back to find you soon. Just as Lu and Saiku were at their wits' end, Zhuowen's voice transmission sounded in their minds. The two of them looked at each other and glanced at Zhuowen on the blood-weeping platform before leaving quietly. Xioshi's expression was ugly. He stared coldly at Zhuowen and said, "Nonsense, full of nonsense. Now you are simply audacious. You even dare to hit my enforcers. You don't have any respect for the enforcers at all." As he spoke, Xioshu led a team of enforcers and surrounded the blood-weeping platform. Each of them took out their divine weapons, and a powerful aura was directed at Zhuowen. As for the 5 Fire Elephant clan experts on the blood-weeping platform, under Kip's lead, they surrounded Zhuowen in 5 different directions. This guy is dead for sure. Unfortunately, I'm not going to kill him with my own hands. Saiku stood at the edge of the blood-weeping platform and looked coldly at Zhuowen. Below the platform, Yuefu pulled the servant girl beside her and hurriedly withdrew a distance. "Miss, this guy is dead for sure." "Looks Miss Yuefu," the servant whispered. "Yuefu's Yuefu. Yuefu's fuzz editor. Fell you, Yuefu sure, you sure fu sure, you was pfeffel fuzz fu naterlaws fien, news fei." But now that the enforcers had interfered, she basically had nothing to do. When the time came, all the benefits would be taken away by the enforcers. After all, the enforcers were the rules in Phoenix Blood City. Even if the patriarch of the Sacred Martin clan entered Phoenix Blood City, he wouldn't dare to break the rules here. Go. With Ji-Pu's order, he led the 4 Fire Elephant clan experts and instantly swept towards Zhuowen. Powerful waves of fire swept up, forming 5 huge phantoms of fire elephants in the void. They all fell towards Zhuowen, like 5 huge volcanoes crashing down, with great momentum. "Let's go," Xioshu ordered and led a team of enforcers to attack Zhuowen. He could see that Kip and the other 4 were in a hurry to kill this Fenyu. He was afraid that this Fenyu had something good on him that Kip coveted. Xioshu naturally wasn't willing to fall behind. If he was strong enough to obtain this Fenyu's Fenyu, with his status as the leader of the enforcers, Kip wouldn't dare to ask him for it. But if this Fenyu's Fenyu, Xioshu didn't have the right to ask Kip to hand it over. After all, Kip's status in the Fire Elephant clan wasn't low, and he didn't have the right to do so. Powerful ripples from the battle erupted. Many of the Fenyu were shocked and quickly distanced themselves from the Weeping Blood arena. Yuefu Mo, who was standing at the edge of the Weeping Blood arena, didn't even have time to react before the energy ripples hit her in the chest. She spat out a mouthful of blood and flew out, smashing into the ground 100 meters away. What a powerful aura! That Fenyu is dead, for sure. The moment this Fenyu offended the enforcers, his fate was already sealed. As the Fenyu's Fenyu, the Fenyu's Fenyu was definitely a monstrous genius-level existence. But now such a genius was about to be stained with blood on the Weeping Blood arena, by Yuzfanyu. Zhuowen stood quietly in the middle of the weeping blood arena. His eyelids were lowered, and he didn't move. The enforcers led by the 5 Fire Elephant clan elites and Xiaoshi were getting closer and closer. Terrifying energy ripples spread into the weeping blood arena, causing it to shake violently. Dai, a late-stage creation realm elite from the Fire Elephant clan, was the first to arrive in front of Zhuowen. He punched out with his right fist, and a wave of fire swept out. The Fire Elephant shadow behind him fell from the sky, and a terrifying aura swept out like a tidal wave. Zhuowen slowly raised his head and looked indifferently at the elite from the Fire Elephant clan. He stomped his right foot, and the space-time around him started to distort. Then, purple streams of water swept out from the distorted space-time cracks. These purple streams of water shuttled through the distorted space-time unobstructed. Puff, puff, puff. The purple streams of water were like purple poisonous snakes. They swept out and instantly pierced through the Fire Elephant shadow. When the Fire Elephant shadow was destroyed, the purple streams of water swept out and pierced through the elite from the Fire Elephant clan. In the blink of an eye, the elite from the Fire Elephant clan exploded into a bloody mist. Even his divine soul wasn't spared. After the purple streams of water pierced through the elite from the Fire Elephant clan, they gathered together and formed a purple river. They swept out and rushed towards the second elite from the Fire Elephant clan. Bang, bang, bang. The purple river was like a rainbow piercing through the sun. It passed through the second, third, and fourth elites from the Fire Elephant clan without any obstruction. The remaining 3 elites from the Fire Elephant clan exploded into bloody mist the moment they were pierced by the purple river. Their divine souls were also destroyed into nothingness. Fire cloud explosion. Seeing 4 of his subordinates killed in an instant, Jitpu was shocked and furious. He used his strongest move, fire cloud explosion. Raging waves of fire swept out like a tidal wave. Each wave was higher than the previous one. It was like an endless cloud of fire. These fire clouds spread out and began to explode violently, blocking the purple river that was drilling in front of them. Jitpu's fire cloud explosion was indeed powerful and terrifying. However, the purple river was even more terrifying. It controlled the power of the entire space-time. The purple river suddenly rolled, and the terrifying cloud of fire that was constantly exploding was sucked into the depths of space-time. The purple river directly drowned Jitpu. Bang! Jitpu's corpse fell from the sky onto the blood-weeping platform. There was no aura left. He was completely dead. Xiaoshi, who was 1 step late, was shocked when he saw the 5 Fire Elephant clan's elites were killed in an instant. He immediately retreated and fled without thinking. Unfortunately, the moment Zhuowen used the purple river, his right foot stepped on the air and appeared in front of Xiaoshi. "You're courting death." Xiaoshi saw that it was Zhuowen who came to stop him and not the strange purple river. His eyes were ferocious. He suddenly punched out, smashing towards Zhuowen's face. Chapter 32-35. Destroying the Weeping Blood platform. Ah! Xiaoshi screamed at the sky. Zhuowen's fist energy was too terrifying. After shattering his right fist, Zhuowen's fist landed on his chest. The terrifying energy exploded, and Xiaoshi's right chest was pierced through. Blood spurted out. Plop! Xiaoshi crashed heavily onto the Weeping Blood platform, twitching continuously. His eyes were filled with regret. He never imagined that the young man in front of him would be so terrifying. If he had known, he definitely wouldn't have stood up. After Xiaoshi was severely injured, the rest of the enforcers were frightened and began to flee. Unfortunately, with a wave of Zhuowen's right hand, the the purple river formed from the fate space-time annihilation swept out like a purple snake. The fleeing enforcers were all swept up by the purple river and turned into lifeless corpses. After the enforcers were all killed, Zhuowen waved his sleeve, and the purple river disappeared into the space-time distortion. When Zhuowen landed on the Weeping Blood platform, all the foreign races around him were petrified. They were dumbfounded. What was going on? 5 Fire Elephant Clan experts and the enforcers led by Xiushi worked together, but they were all wiped out in the end. Moreover, Fire Elephant Clan's Jitpu and the enforcer Xiushi were both peak creation realm experts. In Phoenix Blood City, they were well-known top-notch experts. There was no lack of creation realm experts among the subordinates they brought. But now, Fire Elephant Clan's expert Jitpu was killed, and the enforcer's leader Xiushi was severely injured. No one knew if he was dead or alive, and the rest were all killed on the Weeping Blood platform. All eyes were on the Weeping Blood platform and on the tall and straight figure that was like a god or a demon. This person was simply too terrifying. He had fought against so many masters of creation alone and had actually killed all of them. What kind of battle prowess did he have to possess to accomplish this? Bastard, how dare you cause such a ruckus in Phoenix Blood City? Our enforcers won't let you off. Xiushi raised his head with great difficulty and roared at Chua when with all his might, almost shouting himself hoarse. Unfortunately, Xiushi was only halfway through his roar when a foot stomped heavily on his chest. Xiushi's roar immediately turned into dry coughs. He spat out blood, and his face was deathly pale. Xiushi, let me tell you, my character has always been that if people don't offend me, I won't offend them. The rules of Phoenix Blood City that you mentioned, I have always abided by them. The ones who didn't abide by them are you, since you are the law enforcers of Phoenix Blood City, yet you also disregard the rules or even ignore the rules, then what's the point of establishing this blood-weeping platform? Today, I'm going to destroy this blood-weeping platform. You'll be buried with it. As Zhuowen spoke, he stomped on the ground with his right foot. This stomp carried a tremendous force, and the power of the Pangu's sacred body poured out in torrents. Rumble! A powerful force smashed into Xiushi's chest. Xiushi didn't even have the chance to scream before he was ruthlessly kicked into the crack of the blood-weeping platform. As for the towering blood-weeping platform, it crumbled under Zhuowen's tremendous force, turning into blood-red powder. The blood-weeping platform was destroyed. After destroying the blood-weeping platform, Zhuowen slowly walked out and said in a clear voice, "Mao Shi, did I say you could leave?" His voice rang in everyone's ears like a great bell. Only then did they realize that Mao Shi, who was not far away, was sneakily escaping from this place. Now that Zhuowen had exposed him, Mao Shi didn't even think about it. He rushed out and began to madly escape. Zhuowen sneered. With a wave of his sleeve, a blood sword swept out. It cut through the void and caught up with Mao Shi in an instant. Mao Shi screamed. The blood immortal sword pierced through him, and he exploded into a cloud of blood mist. Among the 3 divine swords Zhuowen had, the Thunderfire sword was the highest level. It was already at the early stage of the Heaven Ascension realm. Its strength was terrifying. The blood immortal sword and the death sacrifice sword had both reached the peak of the creation realm. In a one-on-one fight, they could fight against a peak creation realm alien. Mao Shi was only at the peak of the creator realm. Naturally, he was no match for the blood immortal sword. Yuefu, who was standing in the crowd, couldn't help but open her mouth in shock. Where did this Zhuowen come from? How could his strength be so terrifying? Could it be that this person was a creator realm expert? My lady, your suitor is so powerful. I'm afraid that Lord Feng Bumming of the Phoenix people is only at this level. A servant girl beside Uefu whispered in surprise. Uefu scolded, "Who are you to criticize bumming? Although this person's strength is strange and powerful compared to bumming, he is still far from being able to compare. You should know that although bumming hasn't reached the Heaven Ascension realm yet, when he was half a step away from the Heaven Ascension realm, he had the strength to kill an early-stage Heaven Ascension realm expert. If bumming was here, he would only need one move to deal with these guys. He wouldn't have to go through so much trouble like this person." The servant girl nodded repeatedly and said, "My lady, I know my mistake. This person really can't compare to Lord Feng Bumming." Uefu was very satisfied with the servant girl's attitude. Then her beautiful eyes fell on Zhuowen. Her eyes flashed as she walked towards Zhuowen. After dealing with Mao Shi, Zhuowen planned to go directly to the Green Blood Tea House. The law enforcement team and the people of the Fire Elephant clan had been destroyed by him. Now he wanted to go to the Green Blood Tea House as soon as possible and meet up with Yulu and Saiku. Then he would leave Phoenix Blood City with the two of them. This time he had entered Phoenix Blood City mainly to gather information. To be able to obtain a Ho-E Divine Arrow from Mao Shi was already a pleasant surprise for him. Now that he had gathered information, he had a plan for the future. He didn't want to clash with the experts of Phoenix Blood City. After all, he had heard from Saiku that the three commanders of the law enforcement team were all Heaven Ascension realm experts. If the matter of the Weeping Blood platform were to spread, the three commanders of the law enforcement team would probably be mobilized. At that time, if the Great Array in Phoenix Blood City was to be activated, it would be difficult for Zhuowen to leave Phoenix Blood City. Just as Zhuowen was about to leave, a fragrant wind blew over. Then he saw Uefu leisurely walking over with a sweet smile. "You're very powerful. I still don't know your name." Uefu smiled as her beautiful eyes sized up Zhuowen. Her face was radiant. "I'm Zhuowen, Miss Uefu. If there's a chance in the future, I will visit you at the Sacred Martin clan. Now, I have urgent matters to attend to, so I have to leave first." After saying that, Zhuowen hurriedly left without even looking at Uefu. Uefu's face stiffened as she watched Zhuowen leave in a hurry. Her beautiful face didn't look too good. "My lady, this person must be afraid and is planning to escape from Phoenix Blood City. Should we go and snitch on them?" The maidservant approached and asked, "That guy doesn't know what's good for him. I know that this person lives in the Green Blood Tea House. He has two accomplices. Since those two accomplices aren't here, I'm afraid they are still in the Green Blood Tea House. I'll inform the owner of the Green Blood Tea House, Green Blood Mulberry. Green Blood Mulberry has a good relationship with the three commanders of the law enforcement team. If he knows that this person killed someone from the law enforcement team, I'm afraid he will be happy to find a way to keep him." Chapter 32-36. Scarlet Blood Mulberry. When Zhuowen returned to the Scarlet Blood Tea House, he immediately noticed that something was wrong, because he discovered that the Scarlet Blood Tea House was already closed, and there was a sign on the door that said it was closed for the day. Zhuowen frowned slightly and sent a message to Yulu and Siko, but after a while, there was no reply. Suddenly, a fair and jade-like hand grabbed Zhuowen's right arm and brought him towards an alley on the street. Zhuowen originally wanted to break free, but after seeing this beautiful figure, he immediately resisted the urge to do so. After entering the alley, Zhuowen looked at the beautiful figure in front of him and said, "Miss Hume, why is the Scarlet Blood Tea House closed for the day?" The beautiful figure who pulled Zhuowen into the alley was the White Fox tribe beauty who served him when he first came to the Scarlet Blood Tea House. Her name was Hume. Hume's face was filled with anxiety, and she said in a deep voice, "Guest, leave quickly. Don't go near the Scarlet Blood Tea House. It's best to leave Phoenix Blood City. Miss Hume, what happened at the Scarlet Blood Tea House? Also, didn't my two friends return to the Scarlet Blood Tea House earlier? I can't contact them now. Did something happen to them? Juon asked with a solemn expression. Hume's beautiful eyes flickered, and she sighed softly. The Scarlet Blood Tea Houses. Lord Scarlet Blood Mulberry took action and captured your two friends. It's said that because you violated Phoenix Blood City's rules, he detained your two friends. However, your two friends didn't betray you, so Lord Scarlet Blood Mulberry doesn't know your appearance. Take this opportunity to escape. Lord Scarlet Blood Mulberry is a sky-piercing expert. You are not his match. Zhuowen's eyes flashed with anger. He didn't know this Scarlet Blood Mulberry at all, and he had no enmity with him, but this Scarlet Blood Mulberry actually interfered in his affairs. However, Zhuowen soon realized that something was wrong. How did this Scarlet Blood Mulberry get the news so quickly? It seems that someone snitched. Zhuowen thought in his heart. Hee, Hume, you little bitch. You're siding with an outsider. Master by Shuesang is right. He can see that you little slut are in love. He definitely has a good impression of this Zhuowen. When that Zhuowen comes back, you little bitch will definitely come out and advise that Zhuowen. A cold voice sounded, and from the depths of the alley, a foreign youth slowly walked out. This alien youth was the same as Hume. He also had a white fox tail, so he should be from the white fox race. Hu Ling, are you following me? Hume's pretty face changed slightly, and her voice was filled with panic. The young man called Hu Ling coldly glanced at Hume. Soon after, he looked at Zhuowen and said indifferently, You must be Zhuowen. Our blue blood mulberry has invited you, and he wants you to scram over right now. Hu Ling's eyes were filled with arrogance. Although he was only an early-stage god of creation, his expression was extremely arrogant. Zhuowen slapped Hu Ling to the ground, causing him to spit out a mouthful of blood and broken teeth. Hu Ling's eyes were filled with shock and fury. Just as he was about to berate Zhuowen, Zhuowen stomped him to the ground, almost causing him to faint. Where are my two friends right now? If you don't speak, you can die right now. Zhuowen's eyes were like torches, and his voice was filled with killing intent. Hu Ling could naturally sense the killing intent in Zhuowen's voice, and his entire body trembled. He had always thought that this Zhuowen was just a god of creation like him, and he was one of the few god of creation powerhouses in the Green Blood Tea House. However, never would he have thought that this Zhuowen would be so powerful. He was completely powerless against this person. Don't kill me. I'll take you to Master by Shuesang. Hu Ling hurriedly said. He was really afraid that Zhuowen would kill him in a moment of impulse. If that happened, his death would be too unjust. Zhuowen raised his foot, and Hu Ling hurriedly got up. This time, Hu Ling was a lot more well-behaved, leading the way in front of Zhuowen respectfully. Hume wanted to speak, but stopped. She originally wanted to persuade Zhuowen to flee, but now Zhuowen was delivering himself to their doorstep. Wasn't this seeking his own death? Zhuowen patted Hume's shoulder and said with a smile, Miss Hume, don't worry. In this Phoenix Blood City, there's probably no one who can do anything to me. Hume forced a smile. In her view, this sentence of Zhuowen's was just boasting. She did not take it to heart at all. While leading the way, Hu Ling sneered coldly in his heart. This Zhuowen really dared to brag, to actually say that no one in Phoenix Blood City could do anything to him. Who gave him the confidence? Hu Ling brought Zhuowen to the Green Blood Tea House. Although the Green Blood Tea House's main entrance was closed, Hu Ling did not go to the main entrance. Instead, he circled to the back of the Green Blood Tea House and opened a small door. What surprised Zhuowen was that behind this small door was a passageway leading down. There was actually an underground chamber under the green blood tea house. This passageway was not deep. In less than half an incense stick's time, they already reached the end. Only then did Zhuowen discover that there was actually a very large underground chamber below. Inside was very spacious. Furthermore, what surprised Zhuowen was that this underground chamber was filled with dense heavenly Tao energy. It was more than 10 times denser than the green blood tea house's 10th level. Cultivating in this underground chamber had much better effects than in the green blood tea house's 10th level. Sir, this underground chamber is Lord Green Blood Mulberry's cultivation area. Normally, Lord Green Blood Mulberry would cultivate in seclusion here. Hume said softly to Zhuowen, Miss Hume, don't call me sir in the future. Just call me by my name. This time, thank you for taking the risk to inform me. Zhuowen said with a smile. Hume hesitated for a moment and said sadly, Zhuowen, speaking of which, this time, it was also my fault. If I had not hurriedly pulled you to the entrance of the alley, Hu Ling would not have confirmed your identity. It's a good thing that Hu Ling recognized me. Otherwise, without someone to lead the way, I wouldn't have been able to find green blood mulberry to settle the score. Zhuowen said with a smile, What an arrogant fellow. Death is at hand, and he still wants to settle the score with me. Just as Zhuowen's words fell, a very cold voice resounded in this spacious underground chamber. Zhuowen turned his head to look and discovered that in the depths of the underground chamber, there was a strange race man who was as thin as a match slowly walking out of a dark place. This strange race man's skin was a strange green color. His tongue was very long, like the tongue of a venomous snake. Especially this person's eyes, which actually had double pupils, looked extremely strange and mysterious. Zhuowen knew that this green-skinned man in front of him should be the owner of the Green Blood Tea House, Green Blood Mulberry. Where are my two friends? Zhuowen asked indifferently. Green Blood Mulberry sized up Zhuowen and laughed. Oh, so you're just from the Devouring clan. Moreover, your cultivation base is only at the Creator realm. I really don't know how you killed Xiao. Then Green Blood Mulberry clapped his hands. Instantly, two giant green snakes dashed out of the darkness. These two green snakes had two figures tied to their tails. Zhuowen looked at them and saw that they were Yulu and Siko. Yulu and Siko's faces were green and green. Their lips were purple, and they were delirious. Yen knew that these two had been poisoned. Green Blood Mulberry, let my two friends go, and let us leave. Today, I will spare your life and allow your Green Blood Tea House to continue operating in Phoenix Blood City. Zhuowen suppressed the anger in his eyes and gave Green Blood Mulberry the last ultimatum. Chapter 32-37, The Might of the Thunderfire Sword. You'll find out soon enough whether I'm worthy or not. Zhuowen stepped forward, his aura growing stronger and stronger. He could sense that Mulberry was strong, so he planned to use the power of the Panga's sacred body to get rid of him as soon as possible. When Zhuowen fully released the aura of the Panga's sacred body, the entire basement was filled with a terrifying and shocking pressure. Sang Bai Shui, who had been looking at Zhuowen with a mocking expression, felt the terrifying aura coming from Zhuowen, and his expression changed slightly. He didn't expect Zhuowen to be able to release such a terrifying aura. It didn't seem like the aura of a creator. Hu Ling, who came with Zhuowen, was even more shocked. He quickly moved away from Zhuowen and kept a distance from Zhuowen. The pressure from Zhuowen's aura was too terrifying for him. Hu Mei also moved away from Zhuowen, watching him and Mulberry nervously. Zhuowen's strength was indeed strong, but Hu Mei still didn't think that Zhuowen was a match for Mulberry. After all, the latter was a veteran master of Phoenix Blood City. Interesting. Your strength is much greater than the cultivation you displayed, but that's all. Today, you will die at the hands of me, Blue Blood Mulberry." Mulberry smiled coldly. He stomped his right foot and shot out like an arrow. His speed was extremely fast. Green shadows flickered in the air, making it impossible for anyone to catch him. Whoosh! Mulberry appeared behind Juan in an instant and stretched out his right hand. At this moment, long, thin, and sharp claws appeared on his right hand, and he abruptly extended them towards Zhuo Wen's back. He was as silent as a ghost. Unfortunately, the Blue Blood Mulberry's attack missed because he discovered that his right claw had only struck an afterimage. In other words, Zhuo Wen had dodged it at that moment. Mulberry's eyelids twitched. He felt a strong sense of danger in his heart. A thunderous sound came from the back of his head. Bai Shuesong let out a loud cry and shifted his body to the side. The attack that was aimed at the back of his head smashed into his back, avoiding his vitals. Mulberry spat out a mouthful of blood and fell to the ground in a sorry state. However, Mulberry reacted quickly. The moment he fell to the ground, he rolled away like a wild donkey and dodged the next attack. The moment Blue Blood Mulberry rolled away, a huge crater appeared on the ground where he had just fallen. Within the crater, Zhuo Wen's body was shining with a crystalline light. He slowly stood up and looked at the Blue Blood Mulberry with a mocking gaze. "I won't interfere with your business. I'll let your friend go now. Let's not interfere with each other from now on." Mulberry quickly retreated to the side. "Not the two, Mulberry." He looked at Juan. Juan was really too strange. Mulberry was originally very good at speed, but this guy's speed was even more terrifying than his, and his strength was also greater. How was he supposed to fight? "Begging for mercy now. It's too late." Shui Wen's indifferent voice slowly rang out as he once again attacked the Blue Blood Mulberry. "If you don't stop now, your two friends will die," Mulberry said coldly. Unfortunately, Zhuo Wen was not affected by Blue Blood Mulberry's words at all. He continued to rush towards Blue Blood Mulberry without any intention of stopping. "Well then, your two friends are dead meat." Blue Blood Mulberry's eyes were filled with killing intent. He whistled and quickly retreated into the darkness. Upon receiving Blue Blood Mulberry's order, the two green snakes coiled around Yulu, and Siko's tails roared and opened their bloody mouths, swallowing the two of them. If Saiku and Yulu were swallowed by the snakes, they would undoubtedly die. Roar! But soon, the two green snakes screamed. Two sword lights swept out from the shadows and suddenly fell, piercing the heads of the two green snakes and nailing them to the ground. The sword lights converged, revealing two divine swords with different splendor. One was bloody and the other was hazy. They were the Blood Immortal Sword and the Sacrificial Death Sword. At the same time, in the darkness behind the two green snakes, lightning and fire suddenly exploded, illuminating the darkness extremely brightly. Mulberry, who had been hiding in the shadows, immediately had nowhere to hide. A divine sword intertwined with lightning and fire rushed towards Mulberry. The sword lights contained the power of lightning and fire, possessing unparalleled power that could shake heaven and earth. You're just a piece of trash at the early stage of the sky-reaching Master Realm. Today, this Dragon Lord will cut off your dog head. The Thunderfire Sword's momentum was like a rainbow. Wrapped in lightning and fire energy, it blasted towards Mulberry. Mulberry used all his strength. His body exploded with green light energy accompanied by a violent poisonous gas, trying to block the Thunderfire Sword. But the Thunderfire Sword was too terrifying. All of Mulberry's attacks were crushed by the Thunderfire Sword. Numerous walls forged from lightning and fire stood in the blood jade mulberry tree, and they completely sealed off the latter's path of retreat. Zhuo silently looked at the blue-blood mulberry, who was being suppressed by the Thunderfire sword. He knew that mulberry would lose without a doubt. Looks like Xiaohe really broke through after absorbing the Xianyang God congealed stone. Zhuo muttered to himself. He knew that Xiaohe really broke through the bottleneck after absorbing the Xianyang God congealed stone, advancing from the early stage of the sky-reaching master realm to the middle stage. In terms of one-on-one combat ability, Xiaohe's strength had already surpassed most of the early stage sky-reaching masters. Although Mulberry's cultivation was at the early stage of the sky-reaching master realm, his strength could only be considered average. There was no way he could be Xiaohe's match. Ah! With a shrill cry, the blue-blood mulberry was enveloped by the endless sword intent of lightning and fire. In the end, he was unable to withstand so many terrifying sword intents of lightning and fire. The sword intents pierced through his body, causing him to explode into a bloody mist. A green light shot out from the blood mist. Zhuowen's eyes were sharp and his hands were fast. He reached out with his right hand and grabbed the green light in his hand. This green light was Mulberry's shrunken form. It was Mulberry's soul. Mulberry's eyes were filled with fear. His soul knelt down and begged for mercy. Lord Zhuo, please spare my life. I was wrong. I was blind and didn't know that you were so powerful. Please let me live. I'm willing to give you everything I have. I'll give you the entire green blood tea house. I only beg you to let me live. Zhuowen's eyes were cold as he said, Mulberry, I gave you a chance, but you didn't grasp it. Now, you have no more chances. Go in peace. After saying that, Zhuo clenched his right hand, and a powerful force erupted. Mulberry's soul let out a shrill scream as it was completely annihilated. Hu Ling and Hu Mei were rooted to the spot as they stared at Zhuo in disbelief. Zhuo didn't even make a move. He only used the divine sword, yet he was able to kill a sky-reaching master like Mulberry. This guy was too terrifying. After destroying the soul of the blue blood mulberry, Zhuo arrived at the tails of the two green snakes. He took down Siko and Yulu and examined them. Zhuo took out 2 antidote pills and fed them to them. Soon, the green color on their faces receded, and they slowly woke up. Lord Zhuo, why are you here? We were captured by Mulberry, the master of the green blood tea house. Could it be that you were captured by him too? Siko opened his eyes and asked with a puzzled expression. I'm here to save you. I've already dealt with Mulberry. If you're feeling better, leave with me now. Zhuo said. Chapter 32-38. Shun Tuji, Lord Zhuo, you've dealt with the scarlet blood Mulberry? He's an expert at the initial stage of the Master of Heaven Ascension. Yulu couldn't believe it and couldn't help but ask again. Yes, the scarlet blood mulberry has been dealt with. Let's leave Phoenix Blood City first. I've eliminated a law enforcement team. I'm afraid the 3 commanders of the law enforcement team will soon know. At that time, Phoenix Blood City may be sealed off. We must leave as soon as possible, Zhuo said in a deep voice. Siko and Yulu knew the severity of the matter. They packed up and left with Zhuo. Before leaving, Zhuo looked at Hu Mei and said, Miss Hu Mei, do you want to leave with us? Hu Mei shook her head and said, I've lived in Phoenix Blood City for 1,000 years. I've long treated this place as my home. I don't plan to leave. Since that's the case, I won't force you. Zhuo nodded. He reached out with his right hand and grabbed Hu Ling, who was standing at the side. His right hand formed a sword and pointed at Hu Ling's forehead. He extracted a strand of spirit and sent it into Hu Mei's forehead. A strand of this person's spirit is in your hands. He'll be your servant in the future. If you encounter any danger, You can ask this person to help you. If he doesn't listen to you, you just have to use your divine sense, and his soul will be destroyed. Zhuowen said. Zhuowen, thank you. Humei smiled sweetly. Zhuowen nodded and left the Scarlet Blood tea house with Siko and Yulu walking out of the basement. Zhuowen immediately took out the space-time roulette. He took Siko and Yulu and turned into a ray of light that flew into the distance. However, the moment he flew out, he immediately stopped at the edge of Phoenix Blood City's city wall. Because he was blocked by the array barrier on the surface of Phoenix Blood City's city wall. It's just a creation-grade defensive formation. Zhuowen waved his sleeve and took out beastbone formation discs. He formed a seal with both hands. In less than 3 breaths, the formation barrier in front of Zhuowen collapsed. You must be Zhuowen. How dare you kill a member of my law enforcement team? In the instant that Zhuowen broke through the formation, a foreign man in armor appeared in front of Zhuowen, blocking his path. Lord Zhuo, this person is one of the 3 commanders of Phoenix Blood City. His name is Shintaji, and he's from the Ashwolf clan. He's an early-stage sky-piercing master expert recruited by the Phoenix people. He's in charge of Phoenix Blood City, Saiku said in a low voice. Zhuowen nodded. Regarding the 3 commanders of Phoenix Blood City, Saiku had introduced them to him before. He also knew that the 3 commanders of Phoenix Blood City were not Phoenix people's clansmen. They were recruited by the Phoenix people with a large sum of money to stay in Phoenix Blood City. As for the powerhouses of the Phoenix people, they were basically stationed within the Phoenix people's territory to protect their ancestral land. They would not leave the Phoenix people easily. Furthermore, Zhuowen had used the Torch Dragon's eye to observe the surroundings and discovered that the only sky-piercing master's aura was Shintaji. This also meant that the other 2 commanders of Phoenix Blood City had not appeared. It seemed like the 3 great commanders of Phoenix Blood City did not place him in their eyes. If the 3 great commanders attacked together, Zhuowen would be a little troublesome. However, only one of them had appeared. To Zhuowen, it was not much of a problem. Zhuowen, if you obediently surrender now, I can guarantee you a quick and painless death. Otherwise, you won't have an easy death. Shintaji crossed his arms and looked at Zhuowen with a mocking gaze. The corners of his mouth curled into a mocking smile. Zhuowen could not be bothered to talk nonsense with Shintaji. He took a step forward, and his body exploded with a crystalline light. He instantly threw a punch at Shintaji. Shintaji's face was gloomy. He did not expect Zhuowen to attack without saying anything. You're courting death. Shintaji coldly snorted and also threw a punch. Although Shintaji had a disdainful look, he did not hold back in the slightest when he threw a punch. He gathered the strength of an early-stage, sky-piercing master into this punch. Rumble! The 2 fists collided, and terrifying energy ripples exploded, turning into a ring-shaped shockwave that swept out in all directions. Zhuowen groaned, and his body swayed. However, he quickly stabilized himself. On the other hand, Shintaji directly spat out a mouthful of blood. His right fist was shattered, and he retreated continuously. His eyes were filled with disbelief. Just as Shintaji retreated in shock, a bolt of lightning and fire cut through the void. The moment Shintaji was absent-minded, it pierced through the back of his head. The terrifying lightning and fire energy swept through Shintaji's body like an electric current and suddenly exploded. Shintaji's soul did not even have the chance to escape. It was completely pulverized by the lightning and fire energy. The moment he killed Shintaji, Zhuowen put away the lightning and fire sword and drove the space-time roulette to instantly disappear from Phoenix Blood City. Inside Phoenix Blood City, countless outsiders who were watching this battle were all stunned on the spot. Shintaji, one of the 3 great commanders of Phoenix Blood City, had actually been killed by an unknown foreign race youth in one move. What exactly was going on? The entire Phoenix Blood City was in an uproar. What had happened in the sky above Phoenix Blood City was really too strange. It was too unbelievable. It was like an illusion. Not long after Shintaji was killed, several figures rushed out of Phoenix Blood City and stopped in the sky above where Shintaji had been killed. There, a bloody mist was still drifting in the air and had yet to completely disperse. There were a total of 3 figures. Zhuowen was very familiar with one of them. It was the pride of the Sacred Martin clan, Yuefu. The other 2 wore armor similar to Shintuji's. These 2 were clearly the other 2 great commanders of Phoenix Blood City. Shintuji has already fallen. Among the 3, the black-faced man had a grave expression. He could not help but look at Yuefu and say, "Miss Yuefu, what exactly is going on? Didn't you say that Zhuowen's strength is definitely below the early Skirich Master level? How do you explain this now?" Shintuji chased after him for only 15 minutes. He did not even have the chance to stop Zhuowen before he was killed. "Is this the strength you said below the early Skirich Master level?" The black-faced man's voice became more and more unfriendly as he looked coldly at Yuefu. If not for the fact that the information Yuefu provided was wrong, they would not have been so careless as to only let Shintuji intercept Zhuowen. Instead, the 3 of them would have attacked together to stop Zhuowen. Yuefu's pretty face was pale as she trembled and said, "Commanders, I did not know that Zhuowen was so powerful. Although he killed the experts of the Fire Elephant race before, they were all below the level of a Skirich Master. I thought he was just a half-step Skirich Master. I did not expect. Yuefu, because of your mistake, our Phoenix Blood City has lost a commander. I will report this matter to the Phoenix people. When the time comes, your Sacred Martin race's patriarch will have to make a trip to the Phoenix people." The black-faced commander said coldly. Yuefu was in a daze. She knew that she had done a good deed this time. Not only did she not get any benefits, but she had also gotten into big trouble. On the space-time wheel, Yulu and Siko looked at Zhuowen's back in awe. They had never imagined that Zhuowen would be able to deal with an early Heavenspan master as easily as killing a chicken. That didn't make any sense. They had not seen Zhuowen's battle with Blue Blood Mulberry because they had been poisoned and unconscious. Now that they saw it with their own eyes, they were truly shocked. Zhuowen's gaze was extremely calm. He knew very well that he had only been able to kill Shintuji because of Xiaohei's help. Chapter 32-39. To give secret information, Zhuowen stopped in a canyon tens of thousands of miles away from Phoenix Blood City. He carved out a cave and set up a concealment array outside. With his current level of array formation skills, not many people would be able to see through the concealment array formation he set up. "Lord Zhuo, you killed Shintuji of Phoenix Blood City. You've caused a huge disaster. The Phoenix people will soon find out. When the time comes, the entire Phoenix people's territory will put you on the wanted list," Saika said with a pale face. Zhuowen didn't care. His current battle prowess was very strong. If he didn't use his trump card, he could suppress an early sky-reaching master. If he used his trump card, he could fight an intermediate sky-reaching master. According to Zhuowen's knowledge, the Phoenix people's great elder Muyu's cultivation should be at the peak of the mid-stage Tongtian master, not the late-stage Tongtian master. However, the bloodline of the Phoenix people was too terrifying. The Phoenix people's second great elder was only at the peak of the early-stage Tongtian master, but he could fight against 3 Tongtian masters, including Senki-in at the same time. From this, it could be seen how terrifying the bloodline of the Phoenix people was. Moreover, the second great elder's bloodline could only be considered above average. If the Phoenix people's Holy Maiden's 99 Phoenix body matured, she would be even more terrifying. Fortunately, Zhuowen had extracted the 99 Phoenix body from the Phoenix people's Holy Maiden. As long as he could find Mu Qinxue, he could transplant the bloodline back to her. Saiku could see that Zhuowen didn't care. He sighed and continued, Lord Chua, you probably don't know how strong the Phoenix people are, right? According to my estimates, the Phoenix people have 5 Tongtian masters. There are 3 great elders and 2 great guardians. The Phoenix people have dozens of powerful subordinate tribes. Among them, there are 8 great elders who are also Tongtian masters. As long as the Phoenix people are ruthless and mobilize these forces, I'm afraid you'll be in danger. Zhuowen frowned. After hearing Saiku's words, Zhuowen realized that the Phoenix people had such a deep background. The Phoenix clan alone had 5 heaven-reaching masters. This Phoenix clan was much stronger than the Dao Palace-level forces in the Xianmi heavenly domain. Of course, Zhuowen also knew that there was no comparison. The great desolate heavenly domain was originally much stronger than the Xianmi heavenly domain. After all, the human race was the only race in the Xianmi heavenly domain, while the great desolate heavenly domain had countless races. Furthermore, in the distant past, the human clan was one of the countless clans in the untainted heavenly realm. They were just one of the clans in the untainted heavenly realm. However, the human clan was able to fight against the untainted heaven realm. This already showed how amazing the human clan was. Of course, Zhuowen also knew that the Xianmi heavenly domain had not been conquered by the untainted heavenly domain because the various races in the untainted heavenly domain were not united. If the untainted heavenly domain really decided to destroy the Xianmi heavenly domain, they would gather the strength of all the races. No matter how strong the human clan was, they would still be defeated. Furthermore, the human clans Array Dao and Pil Dao were much stronger than the foreign races in the untainted heavenly domain. A prosperous Pil Dao could create more and more powerful experts for the human clan, and a terrifying Array Dao could create all kinds of great arrays. In war, one person could fight against 10,000 people. It was because of all these reasons that the human clan was able to firmly occupy the Xianmi heavenly domain and resist the foreign race's invasion for countless years. Furthermore, Zhuowen suspected that for a powerful clan like the Phoenix clan, there might be more than just the 5 sky-reaching masters. Therefore, if he really wanted to invade the Phoenix people, he would have to be careful. Lord Zhuo, I think it's best for us to leave the Phoenix people's territory immediately. If we stay here, the chances of us being exposed are too high. Saiku said carefully. Zhuowen glanced at Saiku and said, Brother Saiku, if you don't dare to take the risk, you can leave. However, you have to return the 7 transformation curse pill to me. Since Saiku had taken his 7 transformation curse pill, he naturally had to do his best to help him. Now that Saiku didn't want to take the risk with him, Zhuowen naturally wouldn't give the 7 transformation curse pill to Saiku for nothing. Saiku's expression changed slightly. His eyes flickered, and he sighed. Lord Zhuo, you know how important your 7 transformation curse pill is to me. I will take the risk with you. Ever since he swallowed the 7 transformation curse pill, the curse power in his body had eased a lot. Even his dropped cultivation level had begun to recover. He knew that as long as he continued to consume the 7 transformation curse pill, his cultivation level would slowly recover to its peak. Now that he was asked to give up the 7 transformation curse pill, wouldn't that be asking for his life? Zhuowen nodded and said, Before I infiltrate the Phoenix people, I plan to make a trip to the Sacred Marten tribe and obtain the Ho-E Divine arrow from them. Zhuowen looked at Saiku and said, Brother Saiku, I need you to convey my intention to visit the sacred Marten tribe to Yue. Saika's expression changed slightly as he said, Lord Chua, the fact that Blue Blood Mulberry and the three great commanders learned of the news so quickly, I suspect that it was Yuefu who leaked the news. Wouldn't you be exposing your own whereabouts if you passed the news to Yuefu? I want to expose my whereabouts. Yue's weakness is that she thinks she's smart. In her eyes, I am her suitor. She will lure me into the sacred Marten tribe. Zhuowen said nonchalantly, You want to walk right into a trap. Saiku frowned. Yes, I want to walk right into a trap. However, it's just the sacred Marten tribe. Even if the entire sacred Marten tribe comes, they won't be able to do anything to me. Zhuowen's eyes were like torches as he exuded confidence. However, Saiku was still worried. What if Yue notifies the Phoenix people? What will we do if the Phoenix people send experts to ambush us at the sacred Marten tribe? She won't. Everyone is greedy. Yue knows that I am only a Genesis Lord, yet I was able to kill an early-stage Tongtian Lord. She will definitely suspect that I have a huge secret. The fewer people who know about such a huge secret, the better. She will at most contact the other two commanders of Phoenix Blood City, and then work with the sacred Marten tribe's leader. At most, there will be 3 early-stage Tongtian lords. I, Zhuowen, am not afraid. Zhuowen said nonchalantly. Saiku was silent. He took a deep look at Zhuowen. He felt that Zhuowen was a little too arrogant. Such an idea was simply courting death. 3 early-stage Tongtian lords and numerous sacred Marten tribe experts. Zhuowen actually dared to enter the sacred Marten tribe's nest. Wasn't this courting death? Even though he knew that Zhuowen had the strength to kill an early-stage transcending Heaven Lord, the combined strength of 3 transcending Heaven Lords wasn't as simple as 1 + 1 = 2. Their combined strength was terrifying, and they could instantly kill any early-stage transcending Heaven Lord. They could even put up a fight against an early-stage Tongtian Lord. However, Zhuowen was so arrogant that he didn't take the 3 early-stage Tongtian Lords seriously. Go! Zhuowen looked coldly at Saiku. Saiku sighed in his heart. He cupped his hands at Zhuowen and flew towards Phoenix Blood City. Chapter 3240. Scheming inside the Phoenix Blood City's commander's mansion, Yu Wei and Gao Gu sat in their seats with anger in their eyes, coldly looking at the 2 figures standing in front of them. Yu Wei and Gao Gu were the remaining 2 of the 3 commanders of Phoenix Blood City. Among them, Yu Wei was the black-faced alien from back then. He was from the 7-legged centipede race. His body was terrifyingly poisonous, and he was an extremely difficult expert to deal with in the early stages of sky piercing. Furthermore, Yu Wei's strength was ranked 2nd among the 3 commanders. He was slightly stronger than Shintuji. As for Gao Gu, he was dressed in white and had a jade-like face, looking like a refined scholar. Gao Gu was from the red-crowned crane race and was the strongest of the 3 commanders. Both Shintuji and Yu Wei were wary of Gao Gu. Although they were both early-stage Skyren lords, Gao Gu had once attempted to break through to the intermediate stage. Although Gao Gu failed in his attempt to break through, he was still much stronger than many early-stage Skyren lords. The 2 figures standing in front of Gao Gu and Yu Wei were naturally the sacred Marten race's Yuefu and her maid. Yuefu's face was deathly pale. Both Gao Gu and Yu Wei were powerful existences, no weaker than the sacred Marten race's patriarch. Although Yuefu was a genius of the sacred Marten race, she was still several levels below a Skyrend lord. However, Yuefu still forced herself to remain calm. She knew very well that Gao Gu and Yu Wei wouldn't dare to kill her, because she was Feng Bumming's woman. Both Gao Gu and Yu Wei knew this. With Feng Bumming's status among the Phoenix people, Gao Gu and Yu Wei would definitely give him face. Of course, This matter was her fault. She had underestimated Zhuowen's strength and caused Phoenix Blood City to lose a commander. Their sacred Martin race would definitely compensate for the loss. Perhaps their sacred Martin race would have to pay a huge price this time. Thinking of this, Yuefu gritted her teeth in anger at Zhuowen. Why didn't he just die? Now he had caused her to fall into such a sorry state. Miss Elfew, I also know that you are the woman that Feng Bumming has taken a fancy to, but we are not from the Phoenix people. We are just people who have a cooperative relationship with the Phoenix people. Although Feng Bumming's status is high, it does not affect us. Gao Gu sat on the main seat, gently fiddling with the 2 jade beads in her hands. Her voice was soft but full of dignity. However, the trouble you've caused this time is rather serious. Because of your miscalculation, you've caused our Phoenix Blood City to lose a commander. If I report this matter to the Phoenix people and place all the blame on you, I'm afraid your Sacred Martin clan won't be able to afford it, right? Yuelv bit her lips and looked at Gao Gu. Lord Gao Gu, this is my fault. Give me a chance to redeem myself. Oh, how are you going to redeem yourself? Gao Gu sneered. That Zhuowen is actually one of my pursuers. As long as I leave Phoenix Blood City, I believe that Zhuowen will come to find me. At that time, we can capture this Zhuowen in one fell swoop. This Zhuowen is clearly just a creator, but he possesses such terrifying combat strength. He definitely has a huge secret on him. As long as we kill this Zhuowen, the secret on him will definitely belong to the 2 commanders. Yuefu said, solemnly, "Ha ha, Yuefu, do you really think that Zhuowen is an idiot? Since he caused such a huge trouble, he definitely fled. How could he possibly still stay in the Phoenix people's territory?" Yu Wei's eyes revealed a trace of disdain. He hated women like Yuefu, who thought highly of themselves the most. Although Yuefu was indeed very beautiful, she was extremely conceited and thought highly of herself. This made Yu Wei very unhappy. Yuefu naturally heard the ridicule in Yu Wei's words. She felt helpless. She also knew that Zhuowen would definitely run away. Other than saying this, she really couldn't think of any other reason to absolve herself of this. The hall instantly fell into a deathly silence. Yuefu's servant girl lay on the ground, trembling. She was so afraid that she couldn't say a word. Suddenly, a law enforcer walked in from outside the hall. Gao Gu looked coldly at the law enforcer and said, "Can't you see that we are discussing something? Who allowed you to barge in? Go out and receive 1,000 beatings." The law enforcer knelt outside the door and hurriedly said, "Commander, there is a letter here for Miss Yuefu. It was signed by that Zhuowen. I saw that it was from that Zhuowen, so this subordinate took the liberty to barge in." "Oh, it's from that Zhuowen? This Zhuowen has guts. He killed so many of our Phoenix Blood City's law enforcers, and actually dares to send a letter over," Yu Wei said furiously. Gao Ji's gaze was cold. She looked at Yuefu, who was standing below, and said, "Miss Yuefu, since this letter is for you, take a look at it first." Yuefu nodded and took the jade slip from the law enforcer's hand with a nervous heart. After her divine sense scanned the jade slip, it directly shattered. "Quite cautious. It's actually a one-time use jade slip," Gao Gu said in surprise. The so-called one-time use jade slip was set up with a self-destruction restriction. Once a divine sense scanned the contents of the jade slip would automatically shatter. The main reason was for confidentiality. In contrast, Yuefu's beautiful eyes revealed a look of pleasant surprise. Gao Gu looked at Yuefu and asked, "Miss Yuefu, what's the content of this jade slip?" Yuefu calmed down and said excitedly, "My lords, this Zhuowen said that he admires me very much and wants to go to the Sacred Martin clan to take a look. If it's suitable, He intends to directly propose marriage to our patriarch. Gao Gu and Yu Wei were instantly stunned. Is there something wrong with this Zhuowen's head? He just killed the law enforcers of Phoenix Blood City and the young patriarch of the Fire Elephant clan. Not only did he not flee, this fellow is actually still thinking about UFO. Is this a typical person who doesn't care about his life and loves his beauty? Humph. This Zhuowen is courting death. Gao Gu sneered. And then she looked at UFO and said, since that Zhuowen wants to go to the Sacred Martin clan, then it's just right. Your patriarch will cooperate with us and join forces to take down this Zhuowen. As long as your Sacred Martin clan cooperates with us, we are willing to share this Zhuowen's secret with your Sacred Martin clan. However, we want 70% of this matter, and your Sacred Martin clan can only take 30%. Yuefu sighed lightly when she heard this. Gao Gu and Yu Wei not haggling over this matter was the best outcome. Moreover, the two of them were willing to cooperate with the Sacred Martin clan. This was beneficial to the Sacred Martin clan. After all, since Zhuowen could kill Shintaji, he should be stronger than an ordinary early-stage Heaven Ascension Master. Their patriarch might not be able to capture Zhuowen. However, with Gao Gu and Yu Wei, it was more than enough. Do we still need to report this matter to the Phoenix people? Yuefu asked carefully. Gao Gu said indifferently, after we capture Zhuowen, we will report it to the Phoenix people. There's no hurry now. Yuefu nodded and did not speak. She understood Gao Ji's meaning. Once this matter was reported to the Phoenix people, the experts of the Phoenix people would definitely participate. The experts of the Phoenix people would definitely intervene. After Zhuowen was captured, they would have nothing to do with the secrets on his body. If they killed Zhuowen first, divided the secrets on Zhuowen's body, and reported it to the Phoenix people, the Phoenix people would not be so shameless as to ask them to hand over the treasures on Zhuowen's body. Moreover, they were the only ones who knew that Zhuowen was not simple and that he must have a huge secret on him. Let's set off for the Sacred Martin clan. Let's go there and make some preparations. Gao Gu got up and left the hall with Yu Wei. Outside the governor's manor, the law enforcer who delivered the letter entered a dark alley after leaving the governor's manor, after which his aura and appearance instantly changed, becoming a completely different person from another race, after which he swaggered into the streets. Chapter 32:41. Lord Zhua, Yuefu has already returned to the Sacred Martin tribe. Shall we depart now? Saiku reported to Zhuowen what he had seen and heard in the governor's mansion after returning to the valley. Zhuowen nodded and turned to Yulu. Brother Yulu, what I'm about to do is very dangerous. You should return to the devouring clan tribe first. Yulu's pupils shrank, and he hurriedly said, Lord Zhua, Yulu said that I will return with you. Moreover, Yulu is indebted to Lord Zhua for my current achievements. I will not hesitate to go through water and tread on fire for Lord Zhua. You're about to break through to the Creator realm. The most important thing for you now is to go into seclusion and not risk your life with me. This is my order. Zhuowen said solemnly. Yulu hesitated for a moment and could only agree to Zhuowen's somewhat forceful order. Yulu knelt on the ground and bowed to Zhuowen before leaving the valley under Zhuowen's gaze. Saiku watched enviously as Yulu left. In this place, he was the one who wanted to leave the most. In his opinion, Zhuowen's actions were simply too crazy. It was as if he was dancing on the tip of a blade. He was truly reckless. However, he was helpless. Zhuowen was too strong. Even if he recovered to his peak, he would not be Zhuowen's match. Saiku, what was your peak cultivation level? Zhuowen suddenly asked. Saiku came back to his senses and hurriedly said, Lord Zhua, my peak cultivation level was the early stage Creator realm. Now, My cultivation level has recovered to the early stage creator realm. This is all thanks to Lord Zhuo's 7 transformation curse pill. I understand. Let's go to the Sacred Martin tribe first. Zhuowen pondered for a moment, but did not say anything. Instead, he led Saiku to the Sacred Martin tribe. Saiku was a little confused. He felt that Zhuowen's question was somewhat baffling. In the Sacred Martin tribe, Patriarch Jing Kai came out of seclusion. Her beautiful eyes were solemn as she looked at the distant horizon. A streak of light flashed over from the horizon. The streak of light was extremely fast and soon arrived at the plaza where Jing Kai was. Jing Kai welcomed them with a smile. "Welcome, Commanders Gao Gu and Yu Wei." Gao Gu put away the flying divine artifact and strode forward. Yu Wei followed closely behind. Yuefu and the maid followed behind, not daring to make a sound. Patriarch Jing Kai is too polite. "I'm sure you know why we're here, right?" Gao Gu asked politely. Jing Kai's beautiful eyes lit up as she asked solemnly, "Commanders, are you sure that Zhuowen has a precious treasure on him?" A smile appeared on Gao Ji's face. "It's absolutely true. Otherwise, how could a mere god of creation possess such powerful combat prowess? He must have relied on some extremely precious treasure to achieve this. Moreover, this kid even killed the young patriarch of the Fire Elephant clan, Mo, and seized the Hoi God arrow on Mo's body. Not only that, that fellow even generously took out 3 Tai Chi energy gathering pills and gave them to Miss Yuenfu." Jing Kai's expression changed as she looked at Yuefu, seeking her confirmation. Yuefu nodded and took out the 3 Tai Chi energy gathering pills from her spirit ring. "Patriarch, these are from Zhuowen. I suspect that Zhuowen has other high-grade divine pills on him. He's extremely wealthy." Jing Kai examined the 3 Tai Chi energy-gathering divine pills, and after confirming that not only were these 3 divine pills not fake, but they were also of extremely high quality, she said rather excitedly, "Good, I'll cooperate with the 2 commanders this time." She then returned the pills to Yuefu and said, "Yuefu, these Tai Chi energy gathering pills can help you advance to the Lord of Creation realm. Take them back and cultivate well." Gao Gu and Yu Wei were full of smiles as they asked, "Patriarch Jing Kai, how should we split Zhuowen's spirit ring?" Jewel 11 Jing Kai frowned slightly. She knew that Gao Gu and Yu Wei were planning to work together to reap the benefits. "Let's talk about the distribution after we deal with that Zhuowen. I believe that Zhuowen will be here soon," said Jing Kai. Gao Gu and Yu Wei exchanged a look and nodded. They didn't refute. "Patriarch, there's a fellow called Zhuowen who said that he was invited by Miss Yuefu. He asked me to inform Miss Yuefu." A Sacred Martin race guard hurriedly came in and reported while kneeling in front of Jing Kai. "Yuefu, go out and welcome that Zhuowen. I'll arrange for people to make sure that Zhuowen can't leave this time." Jing Kai's pretty eyes revealed a glint. She led Gao Gu and Yu Wei away from the square, while Yuelf headed towards the city gates of the Sacred Martin tribe. Zhuowen and Saiku stood outside the city gates. Since they weren't members of the Sacred Martin race, they were refused entry. "The Sacred Martin race's attitude is terrible," Saiku complained. Zhuowen stood quietly on the spot without making a sound. Soon, they saw the city gate open, and Yuefu walked out of it. "Zhuowen, you really came. Do you know how sad I was when you left without saying goodbye in Phoenix Blood City?" Yuefu came in front of Zhuowen. Her beautiful eyes were filled with resentment. She looked so pitiful that it made one feel pity for her. Zhuowen glanced at Yuefu calmly and said with a faint smile, "Isn't it because I missed you, Miss Yuefu?" "Oh, right, Miss Yuefu. You know the purpose of my visit. I wonder what your patriarch wants." Yuefu revealed a shy expression and said coquettishly, "This matter is too sudden. Follow me to the meeting Hall first. The patriarch is in the meeting hall. I can't make the decision on this matter. You have to speak to the patriarch personally. All right then. This is a major matter. I naturally have to inform your patriarch. Zhuowen laughed and followed Yuefu into the city. After entering the city, Yuefu led the way without saying a word. She basically didn't say a word to Zhuowen. The enthusiasm she had outside the city gates was completely gone. It was as if she had become a different person. Zhuowen sneered in his heart and also didn't say a word. The moment he entered the city, he felt the fluctuations of an array formation. He knew that the sacred Martin race's protective array was ready to be activated. From the fluctuations, Zhuowen sensed that the sacred Martin race's protective array was actually a creation-grade array. After entering the meeting hall, Zhuowen found that the 12 seats in the meeting hall were all occupied. Sitting at the head of the table was a beautiful woman. On either side of this beautiful woman sat a black-faced alien race member and a scholarly alien race member. Zhuowen guessed that this beautiful woman should be the patriarch of the sacred Martin race, Jing Kai. Her aura was as vast as the sea. She was clearly a genuine master of heaven piercing, the black-faced alien race member, and the scholar sitting on either side of the beautiful woman had auras no weaker than the beautiful woman. Among them, the scholar's aura was the most terrifying. He was even stronger than the black-faced alien race member. In addition, the other 9 alien race members should be the upper echelons of the sacred Martin race. Their auras weren't weak. The weakest among them was a creation master. The strongest was a half-step master of heaven piercing. After bringing Zhuowen into the meeting hall, Yuefu ignored Zhuowen and walked to Jing Kai's side with a cold expression. Her beautiful eyes were filled with mockery as she looked coldly at Zhuowen and Saiku, who were standing at the door. Zhuowen looked around and found that there were only 12 seats in the meeting hall. There were no extra seats at all. He knew that Jing Kai and the others had purposely arranged this. You are Zhuowen? Jing Kai didn't say anything. Instead, it was the old man sitting at the head of the table who asked in a strange voice. This old man should hold a high position in the sacred Martin race because his cultivation was very strong. He was a half-step master of heaven piercing. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to sit at the head of the table. Zhuowen didn't answer the old man's question. Instead, he walked straight toward the old man. I lack a seat. Get out of here. Chapter 3242. The old man was stunned. This Zhuowen was too bold. He had actually asked him to scram the moment he arrived and wanted to snatch his seat. However, the old man soon flew into a rage. Who did this Zhuowen think he was? What right did he have to ask him to scram? The old man unleashed all his strength without hesitation and threw a punch at Zhuowen. However, the old man's eyes soon revealed a look of horror. This was because an aura that was much stronger than his was crushing toward him, causing his body to freeze on the spot. Master Tongtian? As soon as the old man said this, Zhuowen's right claw had already grabbed his collar and flung him out like he was trash. Zhuowen's actions were too fast. Before anyone could react, the old man had already landed heavily at the door, sprawled out on all fours. How dare you? In an instant, the other upper echelons of the Sacred Martin clan all stood up and unleashed terrifying auras. Their eyes were filled with killing intent as they stared at Zhuowen. Zhuowen ignored the murderous gazes of the Sacred Martin clan members. Instead, he slowly sat down at the head of the table and said indifferently, Clan leader Jing Kai, you are a guest from afar, right? Is this how you treat a guest who has come from afar? Jing Kai took a deep look at Zhuowen. Soon after, she smiled sweetly and said, Brother Zhuo, I was negligent just now. I apologize to you on behalf of the Sacred Martin clan. Yuefu, who was standing beside Jing Kai, stared coldly at Zhuowen expressionlessly. In her opinion, Zhuowen was about to die. There was no need for her to put on an act in front of a dead man. Zhuowen waved his hand lazily and said, "There's no need for an apology. I only hope that clan leader Jing Kai can keep your dog in check. Don't come out and bark. I'm tired of hearing it. Little bastard, you." At the door, the old man, who had barely managed to get up, flew into a rage when he heard Zhuowen's mocking words. Just as he was about to step forward and fight with Zhuowen, he was immediately stopped by Jing Kai's shout. QL11, the old man had an embarrassed look on his face. He could only suppress his anger and stand in a corner of the hall. Gao Gu and Yue, who were sitting on either side of Jing Kai, sneered at Zhuowen. In their eyes, Zhuowen was already a dead man. They disdained to speak to Zhuowen, who was about to die. Jing Kai was not angry and said indifferently, "I heard from Yuefu that you visited our Sacred Martin to propose marriage." Speaking of the marriage proposal, Yuefu, who was standing beside Jing Kai, raised her chin, her beautiful eyes filled with arrogance. Zhuowen was startled. He had not really come to the Sacred Martin clan to propose marriage. This was merely an excuse. His true goal was to obtain Ho Yi's divine arrow. What he didn't expect was that Yuefu would turn hostile so quickly. But he didn't care. What he cared about now was where the Sacred Martin clan kept the Ho Yi divine arrow. "Yuefu, you already have someone in your heart? How come I didn't know? I see that Zhuowen is very talented and powerful. Is there a better candidate than him?" Jing Kai pretended to be surprised. Compared to him, Zhuowen is far too weak. Yuefu shook her head. "Oh, he's even more powerful than Zhuowen. Could it be that person?" Jing Kai seemed to have thought of something. "Patriarch, you guessed right. He is the Phoenix people's shocking genius. Feng bumming. I have already pledged my life to bumming. I haven't told you about this before." Yuefu's beautiful eyes revealed a fervent look when she mentioned Feng bumming. Her beautiful face revealed a shy expression. "It's actually Feng bumming. That's great. Feng bumming is the Phoenix people's monstrous genius. I heard that when Feng bumming was still a half-step Skyrend Lord, he had already killed an early-stage Skyrend Lord." Yue, who was sitting at the side and had been silent all this time, revealed a surprised expression and spoke up. Gao Ji's expression was also solemn. It wasn't that he hadn't heard of the rumors between Feng bumming and Yuefu. He had thought that the two were just fooling around. He didn't expect that Feng bumming and Yuefu would actually pledge their life to each other. The implications were huge. Feng bumming would definitely inherit the position of Phoenix Lord in the future. If Yuefu really married Feng bumming, it would be incredible. Yuefu would become the Phoenix Queen in the future. Good. Feng bumming is really a good match for you. Yuefu, you have brought honor to our Sacred Martin clan. Jing Kai laughed heartily. Zhuowen silently watched Jing Kai and Yuefu echo each other. He knew that the two were planning to humiliate him. If he really admired Yuefu and came to propose marriage, he would indeed be humiliated to the point of anger. Unfortunately, the marriage proposal was just an excuse for him to enter the Sacred Martin clan. He really didn't feel anything about Jing Kai and Yuefu echoing each other. Brother Zhuowen, as you can see, Yuefu already has someone in her heart. I'm afraid our Sacred Martin clan can't agree to your marriage proposal. Jing Kai looked at Zhuowen with a smile. She really wanted to see Zhuowen's embarrassed and angry look. However, what surprised her was that Zhuowen was as calm as a demon and didn't show any signs of being flustered and exasperated. "Haha, since Miss Yuefu already has someone in her heart, I won't be a third party. There's no need to mention this marriage proposal. Zhuowen said with a faint smile. Yuefu frowned slightly. She suddenly couldn't see through this Zhuowen in front of her. She couldn't find the fanatical gaze that he had when they first met. When she saw this person again, she saw that this person's eyes had always been terrifyingly calm, like an ancient well without ripples. This made Yuefu very displeased. In her view, this Zhuowen had already slammed the table and stood up in a rage, shouting that he wanted to challenge Feng Bumming, and so on. But unfortunately, Zhuowen was too calm, so calm that it made her feel extremely unfamiliar. Brother Zhuowen is really open-minded. Actually, if you really want to pursue Yuefu, it's not that you don't have a chance. If you have Heaven Ascension, Lord Divine Pills, I'll make the decision for you and matchmake you and Yuefu. How about it? Jing Kai said with a smile. Zhuowen sneered coldly in his heart. How could he not tell that this Jing Kai was testing him? Ha! I have a lot of divine pills. If you want Heaven Ascension, Lord Divine Pills, that's easy. I have quite a number of such divine pills. For example, this Supreme Harmony Spirit Chi pill. Zhuowen took out a divine pill that was as green as jade. As soon as this pill appeared, a refreshing aura that made people feel as if they were on cloud 9 filled the entire hall. This Supreme Harmony Spirit Chi pill was refined by Zhuowen in the Massacre Heavenly Domain and given to Meiying and Qi Gaoming respectively to help them break through to the middle stage of Heaven Ascension Lord. This was a genuine middle stage Heaven Ascension Lord Divine pill. It was specially used to help early stage Heaven Ascension Lord cultivators break through to the middle stage of Heaven Ascension Lord. The moment Zhuowen took out the Supreme Harmony Spirit Chi pill, the entire hall fell into a strange silence, especially Jing Kai, Yu Wei, and Gao Ge, who were sitting at the head of the table. They were all stunned, but soon their eyes were filled with a strong desire. Yuefu looked at Zhuowen in shock. She already found it unbelievable that this person could take out a creation-level divine pill. But now, this guy was even more abnormal. He actually took out a Heaven Ascension Lord Divine pill. This level of divine pill was really too rare in the primitive heavenly domain. Generally, only the 10 major races had this level of divine pill, and there were not many of them.